in that area following rumours of untapped mineral deposits near a disused shaft. Earlier today, dozens of heavily armed Metro Police officers moved in, chasing people away from the city of Ekurhuleni-owned land. Alfara Mushwana is there.
What was once a vacant patch of land in the Gugulethu informal settlement has turned into a treasure trove, with locals digging deep trenches in search of gold. Wheelbarrows, picks and shovels have been the tools of trade over the past few days. Earlier today, a strong police presence swarmed the site and halted all activity. But less than an hour after the officers left, many returned, and this man was the first to go back to what he calls his bread and butter.
The police are just doing their job, and so are we. If they arrest me, then there will be nothing I can do. I'm afraid, but what else can I do?
He says that a piece of gold smaller than a rock can fetch no less than 1,900 rand. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Springs in Ekurhuleni.
Suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya remains adamant that the instruction to carry out the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team was given by his boss, Fani Masemola. Sibiya has been testifying at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria today. He provided the Commission with his version of events regarding the disbandment of the PKTT. Sibiya claims Masemola's stance that he was surprised by the PKTT disbandment letter issued by Police Minister Senzo Mchunu in December 2024 is simply unbelievable. Oren Singh has more.
Shadrack Sibiya claims National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola knew about the possible disbandment of the PKTT as he was privy to talks about absorbing the task team into the murder and robbery unit. Sibiya claims he signed off on a close-up report of the PKTT but was ultimately under instruction from Masemola to do so.
I emphasize that any role that I played in the disbandment of the PKTT was undertaken solely in the course and scope of instructions issued to me by the National Commissioner.
He says had he not acted on the instruction, he could have been charged for insubordination.
The alternative would have been to defy a direct order from my superior, which would itself have constituted unlawful conduct and a disciplinary offense.
The PKTT remain active in conducting their investigations. Aryan Singh, Eyewitness News.
We take you now to a story which contains some disturbing details of child abuse. Self-confessed child killer Amber Lee Hughes maintains that she intended to plead guilty to murder from the start of the case. The 26-year-old convicted of the rape and murder of 4-year-old Nada Jane Chalita has been submitting evidence before the High Court as part of her sentencing proceedings. For over 2 years, Hughes pleaded not guilty to all counts but made a shocking turnaround last year, confessing to how she had killed the child. It's been 3 years since Chalita was raped and drowned in a Glen Vista apartment in 2023. During today's proceedings, Hughes told the court that her previous defense team advised her against pleading guilty.
She informed me that I would have to plead on all 3 charges. That stage it was 3 charges of rape, sexual assault and murder. And I would have to plead on all 3, or I wasn't allowed to plead on just murder. Michelle also felt that my case was strong enough.
Action SA says they were not consulted before Ekurhuleni Mayor Dr. Qhakaza appointed Xolani Khumalo to his mayoral committee. Last night, Qhakaza announced changes to his cabinet, naming Khumalo, an Action SA councillor, as the MMC for Community Services and Bylaw Enforcement. But Action SA has rejected the appointment, saying it does not want to be associated to what it calls the corrupt ANC-led government in the city. Action SA leader Herman Mashaba says appointing Khumalo without consulting the party was an act of sheer disrespect.
We did not just reject it. I think we don't want to be disrespected. We are a political party with our own values, with our own constitution. We're not a political party where people just really decide to appoint our councillors in executive positions without involving our party's total disrespect, and we reject it with contempt it deserves.
And in Greece, taxi drivers have kicked kicked off a nationwide strike against new rules which they say favour private vehicles for hire. The strike is expected to last 2 days, with drivers saying they are fighting to protect their right to have access to a public service mode of transport and not private cartels. They are demanding a deadline of 2035 for the transition to electromobility, arguing that the measure is currently unworkable due to a significant lack of charging stations for electric vehicles. While the strike is expected to last 2 days, the drivers have threatened to launch an indefinite strike in the near future if their demands are not met. Gold is trading at $4,921.48 an ounce. The rand is at 15.97 to the dollar, 21.64 to the pound, 18.92 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.42 a barrel.
In Lambton, Germiston heading towards Alberton, there's still slow-moving traffic due to roadworks on the N17 westbound between Osborne and Wits Rifles, and there's also faulty traffic lights in Calvin at Old Pretoria Road and Northway.
In your world of sports, it is a clean sweep for the Proteas heading into the Super 8s of the T20 World Cup, and it is a battle of the giants at the FNB Stadium with Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns in action, while the Premier League has one game, literally a David and Goliath match, with Arsenal up against Wolves at 10.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: locals who have been digging for gold at an informal settlement in Springs have returned to the site after being chased away by police earlier today.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Calling all the brightest minds in Gauteng. Time to flex your general knowledge smarts in the brain of 702. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app. DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 9 minutes past 3 on Wednesday, the 18th of February. 702 Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here. Yes, indeed, this is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. It's day 1 of 4 for Deputy National Police Commissioner General Shadrack Sibiya at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. My sense from what I've watched so far, this is, relatively speaking, the straightforward part. It's where he gets to go through his affidavit and lead in many ways the discussion, frame it in terms of what he's put down. I expect it to start getting a lot tougher quite soon. Oren Singh is our EWN reporter there. Oren joining us at 10 past 5. In other stories, lots of turbulence out in Ekurhuleni, where the Metro's executive mayor, Dr. Kakaza, has reshuffled all the MMCs that he has in his pack. The problem is the Action SA deployee, the person who he was going to give a portfolio to, Action SA said, no, thanks, we're not coming, as you heard a moment ago in Mbali Dlamini's bulletin. So what's going on there? Alpha Ramushwana joins us to give us an insight into what happens in an important metro when it would seem a political coalition starts to break apart. For the first time in ages, the Betway Premiership is a race, a real race, and not a Sundowns-led procession, which it has been over a good many years now. One year season Chiefs ran them close, but it's been pretty much one team stuff for a long while. So the Brazilians up against league leaders Pirates tonight. Are you going? If you are, what time do I need to meet you for that spare ticket? No, but seriously, if you're going tonight, drop me a note and tell me what you're looking forward to seeing. We'll look ahead to the game, but we'll also talk about the deeper significance, because I think it is important, of real sustained competition at the top of the table. It's got to be good for football in every single manifestation. Far Post editor Mthokozisi Dube joins us for that at 10 to 4. And at about 10 to 5, another round, speaking of competition, of the 702 Brain of 702. We've got two excellent contenders. We've got our usual range of tricky and tough questions, and I'm looking forward to that. On the markets today, a strong performance by financial stocks has pushed the All Share up by 1,835 points. The financial index, by the way, up by 2.4%. Big gains. Among the gainers today, actually leading it, is a mining stock, Pan African Resources, up by 7.45%. Grindrod has gained 6%, and Glencore is up by 4.9%. The rand is currently rock steady, trading at 16.02 against the dollar, a 2-cent shift from where it was 24 hours ago. Similar tiny little moves, hardly substantial, against the euro, which will now cost you 18 rand 99, and 21 rand and 77 cents will get you a pound. The price of oil has spiked by nearly $2. Brent crude currently trading at $69.21 a barrel. Stephen Curtis joins us with all the market news at 4:25. We'll have sport with Tato Muleko. Mbali Dlamini, as you heard, has the very latest news headlines. And we'll get Karabo Chali, who is going to keep us up to date on what's happening on the roads. 702 Drive, it's 13 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So one of the things that we've been chatting about is when people actually lose it, and lose it to the point where they don't feel they can talk anymore. Words don't land with any of the impact that they believe they can or should. And people decide to lose it and use their fists and slap or punch or whatever it might be. It's a question that's not a light matter at all, but we're trying to sort of better understand why it is that people actually do that. And if you've ever found yourself just getting tipped over the edge, what actually did it? There's another element to all of this that I find really, really interesting. If you go on social media, there are all these accounts that show people fighting. And I wonder if you ever watch them and think, I'm glad he hit that guy, or that guy got what he deserved, or she really shouldn't have done that, or whatever. You know, kind of vicarious pleasure. And you would regard yourself as somebody who doesn't support the idea of responding violently to provocation, but somehow think, well, I shouldn't be enjoying this, but I kind of am. So, yeah, quite a lot to think about there, because we are a society where punches get thrown perhaps more than they should, and more often than not in some circumstances. So your thoughts about that? What is it that actually, if you do get tipped over the edge, is it something you learned? Is it something that was drilled into you as you were growing up? Or is it maybe something you've just started doing? Give us a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Jonathan Fairbairn producing the show this week with Refuwe Letsua. Your thoughts?
Yeah, afternoon, John. It's an interesting one. I mean, like, you can, whatever fight you watch, there's always that first person who throws the first punch.
Yes.
Right? And like, I've often thought about these type of guys, you know, what makes them do it. So, you know, do they come from a background where, let's say, maybe their dad has sat them down as young men, young boys, and said, listen, you know, you've got to stand your ground, you've got to do this, and, you know, don't ask questions, you just sort of knock or throw the first punch, because if you don't throw the first punch, you could get hit and, you know, whatever happens to you. Or is it something that they've learned over time? They can't control their emotions, their anger. That kind of thing has always crossed my mind, like what makes a person throw the first punch when there's a disagreement or an argument. And like, I always thought to myself, if I had a young son, what would I say to them? Because I don't recall my dad ever having a conversation with me to say, this is the story. If you're in a fight, this is what you must do. Or somebody challenges you, you must hit them first. So it's an interesting conversation to have. And I mean, especially if you are a parent,
Yes.
have you had that conversation with your son? And even if you're a mother raising you're a single mother raising a boy, what do you teach them about hitting? Because I also think there's maybe a balance there to say, well, if you raise a child to say, don't raise your hands, and they do get hit, then, do they know, should they think they should defend themselves, all that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting conversation to be had, I think.
Yeah, no, it really is. So, I mean, what conversations are you having with younger people in your life? What conversations did people have with you? I mean, I think most people would say that they would absolutely rather not fight and they don't like the idea of it. But circumstances arise, and sometimes people use their fists, use their hands, and feel absolutely justified that, in fact, that was the only way to settle something. So I'm sure you've got some stories. I'm sure you've got some thoughts. 072 702 1702. Karabo Charlie, you're raising a young man?
Yeah, it's not about just boys, I guess. Even I've seen on social media women also throwing fists, grabbing hair, pulling hair, and just some disturbing views that we see on social media. And you ask yourself, where do you get that energy to fight? And I think, from my observation personally, I think it starts at home. If you're living in a violent environment, you end up picking up those kind of traits of just, when somebody ticks you off, you resolve to violence. So I think it's how we act at home, how we speak at home, that kids pick up those actions, So yeah, I think when you see those kind of things, just maybe ask them, or maybe ask yourself, maybe that's where they got it from at home, because I see it a lot with kids where you'd hear their parents like swearing is just normal for them, and then when they're at school, you just hear them spew these nasty words to other kids, and you're like, oh, he got it from home. So when they're violent, chances are they also got it from home.
Yeah, give us your stories and your thoughts. As I said, 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. I see we've got a message here from one of our listeners. Vaynant says, that's one thing I wish my dad never taught us four brothers, because we're all over 40 years old already, and sometimes there are still fist fights. Vaynant, thank you calling us on or dropping us that note on 072 702 1702. It's 19 minutes past 3. Need to find out if there's any traffic snags starting to take shape and not up. Karabo Charlie, what you got?
Well, at this stage, not looking too bad, John. I must say, free flowing across most parts of 702 land. However, in the Lambton, Germiston area, there's slow moving traffic. This is on the N17 westbound between Osborne Road and Wits Rifles due to roadworks. Also, slow moving traffic due to faulty traffic lights approaching the intersection of Modderfontein Road and Laurie. That's in the Edenvale area. Traffic lights still not working in Paulshof, Advert, and Main. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Clement Manyatela.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Can you be honest with us, Michael? Are you telling me that as Action SA, there were no other positions you were interested in? So even if they had given you 3 more positions, you didn't want it because you don't want to be part of the government in Ekurhuleni?
Correct. As a matter of fact, the response from our president to the mayor was, if you offer us the mayoralty, we'll consider. Because when we are led in a coalition by mayors who have proven incapable of leading complicated cities like Dada Marrero, like Mayor Kakazi here, is a situation where we'll find ourselves subjugated to inadequate leadership that fails the residents of Ekurhuleni at a critical time where we need to be the alternative. And you can't be the alternative if you're reporting to the people that you need to be the alternative to.
Clement Manyatela.
9 to 12 on 702.
Meet Tato Makate, CMO of Koitek, proving that South African tech can take on the world. Tato, why was Telkom Business the right call for your team?
Bottom line was connectivity and ensuring that we have the right service provider.
With Telkom Business Fiber, Koitek seamlessly connects local innovations with international manufacturing.
Get Stream Connect Fiber from just 399 Rand per month. Call 10213 or check telkom.co.za. T's and C's apply. Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
Buy any Hills pet food and you could win one of 10 holidays worth 200,000 Rand each. Or take the bucks. Scientifically proven formulas for your pet. An adventure for you. Hills Pet Nutrition. Science does more. T's and C's apply.
Managing your workforce shouldn't be complicated. That's why businesses choose Onacy, a proudly South African cloud-based payroll and HR solution. From payroll and e-recruitment to performance management and self-service tools, we streamline the way businesses handle their people. Scalable, secure, and always online, our system evolves with your needs because your workforce deserves the best. Switch to Onacy and experience payroll and HR done right. Visit onacy.com today.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Many other indications that our economy is at last moving. Do these numbers show there is some progress in actually creating jobs?
We saw, I think, what was quite embarrassing, Stephen, the drop in the trade numbers in terms of employment outcomes. And it was because of the cleanup ahead of G20, and it's coming out in the numbers here. And so informal trade already then becomes dogged in the way in which we recognize its contribution to economic outcomes in the country.
Safisa Skinjana is the economist.
The Money Show.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702. WhatsApp John.
On 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John, and the listeners of 702. Yes, I'll be going to the stadium today, and I'm a Sundown supporter. I can guarantee you that the 57 supporters of us will be happy going home singing, while 59,000 will be crying today. Sorry, Pagania, not today.
Kabazela, to answer your question, I was not raised by my father. However, after my parents' divorce, we moved to a new school and I was bullied. And I think from grade 2, grade 3, from grade 4, I learned to stand for myself. And from that time onwards, I do not wait for a confrontation or for somebody to throw the first punch. Immediately when it comes to me, if I have to, I stand up, I defend myself, or I fight. But over the years, I've learned to reserve myself. If there's a confrontation or argument, I have learned over the years to be very reserved and then to hold myself no matter how much the anger will push me to fight. I've learned to hold myself. But the one other thing is that you can only hold yourself to such a point.
Yeah, thanks very much for sharing so honestly about this issue. And please give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Love the message about going to the game. 57 of us. I think there'll probably be a few more Sundowns fans. We're all going home happy. And I wanted to ask, and I always do when there's a big match, I say, are you taking anyone who's never been before? And I suppose what I have in mind is kids. Young people who maybe have watched football on TV know that dad or uncle or older brother or a favorite neighbor or whatever it might be is a fan of a particular team. They're going for the first time. Do you have a memory of your first time at the stadium? If you do, please share it with me. 072 702 1702. I've said before, each time I go to a stadium feels like the first time I'm going to a stadium. But I've shared my stories. I want to hear yours. 072 702 1702. 25 minutes past 3.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So, quite a confusing situation out in Ekurhuleni. At least it is confusing to me. Now, last night, the executive mayor out in Ekurhuleni, Dr. Tlakaza, reshuffled his mayoral committee, 10 MMCs, I think, members of the mayoral committee in there, removed some EFF members. The EFF and the ANC, you may recall, have been in a coalition there since 2023, 5 MMC positions each. Then there was more confusion when the mayor said, no, he's bringing in somebody from Action SA. That party promptly turned around and said, don't think so. We're not coming in. We don't want to be there. So it looks messy. It probably is. And I can't believe it'll bring any benefits at this minute for people who live in Ekurhuleni. But let's get the inside track. Alpha Ramushwana, EWN reporter, has covered Ekurhuleni politics for a while and joins us now. Alpha, very good afternoon to you. What's going on? It does seem to be a bit of a mess.
From a fellow Sundown supporter, good afternoon, John.
Yeah.
So it's a really messy situation in the city of Ekurhuleni. As you have said last night, the mayor, who is an ANC councillor, Dr. Tlakaza, announced changes to his mayoral committee. And the problem, according to some of the political parties, is that he announced those changes to the mayoral committee without consulting them. In fact, I spoke to Action SA leader Herman Mashaba earlier today, and he said he received a text from the mayor yesterday who informed him that he wants Xolani Khumalo, Action SA's mayoral candidate, on his mayoral committee. But Mashaba says he rejected and declined that offer and was surprised when he woke up in the morning that he had already been appointed as the MMC for community safety, community services and bylaw enforcement in the city of Ekurhuleni. The EFF as well claims that the mayor did inform them of his plans to change his mayoral committee, but they did not agree to the proposals that the mayor was putting on the table. The EFF had about 4 seats in the mayoral committee, and after the new the reshuffle, they were given just 2, so they were cut down from 4 to 2, and they too have now rejected that proposal or the adjustments to the cabinet in the city of Ekurhuleni. So at the moment, the mayor has about 7 seats that are filled in the mayoral committee. The EFF have pulled out their 2 members, and Action SA have also refused.
Yeah, I mean, what happens next? I mean, I am a bit bewildered. I mean, how did the executive mayor imagine this would end? Because some people might say this outcome is a little predictable.
Well, John, political analysts are suggesting this is possibly one of the worst acts of political miscalculations they've seen in a while. And this is because you would know that the ANC is not enjoying a majority in the city of Ekurhuleni. In fact, they've been governing with the EFF and smaller minority parties over the past few years. And now the EFF has officially pulled out of that coalition. And so it leaves the ANC exposed. You know, should a motion of no confidence be filed against the mayor, they would not have the number to keep him in the position. So I don't understand what the mayor, Dr. Tlakaza, imagined would have happened. But as we speak, they are in a very, very unfortunate position, John.
So, Alpha, in terms of what next? I mean, I don't know if there's any indication that the ANC may have a rethink, that I can't imagine the EFF will have any kind of rethink, and Action SA don't seem to suggest there's much room for negotiation. But somebody's got to move, otherwise Ekurhuleni comes to a bit of a standstill, doesn't it?
Of course. I mean, right now it seems the only option that they would have is to try and convince the DA to enter the fray. If we're talking about Action SA, Herman Mashaba has made it clear that they have no intentions of entering into that government right now with the ANC. You might know that it has been at the center of corruption allegations at the Mazlanga Commission of Inquiry, and Action SA believes it's not the right time to join government in the city of Ekurhuleni. Herman Mashaba was saying that he was willing to negotiate for a mayoral position instead of a mayoral committee position. So we know the ANC is not willing to give up the mayor position, and so it's going to be a tough one. But EFF as well, Julius Malema, the leader of the party, has been quite angry at the ANC in Ekurhuleni, and he recently said at the party's strategic planning meeting about 2 weeks ago that the EFF is going to stop supporting any ANC mayor in Gauteng. From Ekurhuleni to Johannesburg, they will no longer vote to keep an ANC mayor in office, and effectively ending their coalition in Johannesburg and in the city of Ekurhuleni. So they've made that first step in Ekurhuleni today. They've officially withdrawn. So the only option that they have really, if they want to stay in office, that's the ANC. They would need to try and convince the Democratic Alliance.
Thanks so much, Alpha Ramoshwana. If you live out in Ekurhuleni, your thoughts? A degree of instability, I think, is something that you've lived with for a while. This doesn't appear to be going anywhere fast, but if it does continue in the same direction, I think it's fair to say some real problems ahead. 29 minutes to 4. Let's get the very latest in Eyewitness News with Mbali Dlamini.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Gauteng residents are being urged to prepare for a new water strategy called water shifting. The term was used recently when Deputy President Paul Mashatile confirmed that load shifting was being implemented as a recovery measure to stabilize the province's water system. The move comes after residents in Johannesburg took to the streets recently following weeks of dry taps. Failures at Rand water pump stations and a major pipe burst last month have been blamed for the water supply challenges. Thandoluhle Ngcobo reports.
Water load shedding is a process that redirects water from healthy reservoirs with stable levels to critically low reservoirs to prevent a total dry-out. While it is intended as a balancing act to keep the entire grid functional, for the average resident it results in water shedding. This is not the first time water shifting has been implemented. In 2023, then Water and Sanitation Minister Senzo Mchunu introduced the system, which was described as a temporary intervention to stabilize supply to the city of Joburg. Deputy President Paul Mashatile has formed a task team for Gauteng, which is working on load shifting in order to control system recovery. For now, no formal schedule or timeline has been shared to indicate when and which areas will be affected by load shifting. Thandoluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
Bridgetown residents in Athlone in the Western Cape are gripped in fear after a 9-month-old baby was shot dead in that area last night. Police say the infant and 2 women were fatally wounded in the shooting, while 2 others were injured and are being treated in hospital. The shooting comes just days before the deployment of the SANDF to gang-ravaged areas in the Western Cape, Gauteng and the Eastern Cape. Carlo Peterson is in Bridgetown.
An eerie silence is hanging over the community of Bridgetown here in Athlone today after a shooting at a known drug den in the area left a 9-month-old baby dead. 2 other women, one of whom is the baby's mother, were also killed in the shooting, while 2 others who were also shot are being treated in hospital. Residents refused to speak to EWN, saying they don't want to put their own lives at risk. Neighbours were also seen collecting identity documents from the residents to make funeral arrangements for the deceased. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News in Bridgetown.
Annual headline inflation slowed to 3.5% in January from 3.6% at the end of last year. The print is marginally higher than market expectations. Stats SA released the latest price figures earlier today. The dip in inflation puts the reading back at November 2025 levels. Chief Director for Price Statistics at Stats SA, Patrick Kelly, says the downward pressure is thanks to a sharp decline in fuel prices, while food inflation was steady for the 3rd consecutive month.
The monthly change in the CPI was 0.2%, the same as December's reading.
In the food category, Kelly says cereal products slowed significantly.
White rice recorded a drop of 11%, representing an 11th consecutive month of deflation. Maize meal inflation declined notably from 9.5% in December to 2.6% in January. Inflation for oils and fats softened to 4% from 4.6% in December.
And Gabon has shut down social media. Platforms such as Facebook and TikTok are inaccessible at the moment over what government says are security threats and harmful online content. The move follows concerns over the circulation of false information and other digital activities deemed detrimental to social cohesion and security of state institutions. The High Authority or Communication says the harmful content is undermining human dignity, public morality, and the honor of citizens. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 28 degrees.
Lambton Germiston roadworks slowing down traffic on the N17 westbound from Osborne Road to Wits Rifles, while in Sandton traffic sluggish. That's heading towards the M1 on Greyston Drive between Sandton Drive and Catherine Street, and in Parktown travelling through the Joburg CBD, traffic heavily backed up on the M1 southbound from Killarney Bains to the double-decker section.
The top story in EWN, Gauteng residents are urged to prepare for a new water strategy called water shifting.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Just give us a sense of where we are with this foot and mouth disease outbreak. How serious are things at the moment?
It's far greater than what we've ever experienced in the history. I had a look. I think the first outbreak in South Africa was 1904.
What does it actually mean in terms of the affected animals?
The moment that I break on my farm, there's a restriction of movement on my farm. So I can't sell, I can't move my animals. It can be up to 12 months.
What does it mean for consumers?
There's nothing wrong with red meat in South Africa to consume. We have of the best meat in the world.
Johan Kotsep.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
For over a decade, Illuma Capital has had one simple mission: to help you secure the financial future you deserve. Over the past 10 years, they've empowered thousands of clients with personalized strategies, expert advice, and impressive returns of up to 13.2%. Whether it's growing wealth, securing retirement, or planning for the unexpected, Illuma Capital is there every step of the way. Visit illuma.co.za today. Illuma Capital is a licensed FSP. T's and C's apply.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crush prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is streets ahead. Warrior Paints. Affordable, lasting luxury.
We at Monument Dental are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium when you switch? For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John. From my side, I was raised by my mom, but mostly I lived with my grandma, and I was taught to always throw the first punch. Never, if someone is becoming aggressive towards me, I'm not supposed to let them come at me. So every time I would go home because someone clapped me or something like that, I would get the beating myself to say, dude, you got to stand up for yourself. We are not living in a perfect world. We are living in a violent world. I hear what Karabo is saying, that it baffles him that, you don't know where the energy comes from. It comes from the world that we're living in, sir. We are living in a violent world. And as for me, I have two daughters. I teach them the same thing, that, you know what, if it's violent, protect yourself. You throw the first punch. You always surprise that guy who thinks he can become violent and show you. If someone bites you, you slap them. If they slap you, you give them a fist. If they fist you, you must take it a notch up. That's how I was taught, and it has helped me survive. I'm not violent, and I don't start fights, but I will get even. I'll fight my own.
Good afternoon, John and the listeners. On the subject of people choosing to fight instead of using dialogue to resolve their differences, I think it has to do with the times that we live in. Just yesterday, you were talking about the unemployment rate and how it affects people. And so I think a lot of people are carrying around their baggage, which have to do with their finances. And the greatest contributor to that is the unemployment rate. And so when you step over a toe of somebody with such a baggage, the chances of them applying their mind and remaining calm are very slim. And so that is why we find ourselves in such a society which is ready to use their fist instead of choosing calm in resolving conflict. Tandanan in Boxburg.
Yeah, thank you. Lots and lots of really interesting points of view. The question we are asking is, how have you towed the line, found the balance between, using your hands, using your fists, fighting when you have to, even if you don't want to? And what lessons are you sharing with younger people in your lives? Give us a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 19 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Proteas already in action today. Sundowns and Pirates in action later this evening. Tato Moloto with the details. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Indeed, the Proteas chose to fight on the field instead for themselves. They wrapped up the T20 World Cup group stages with a clean sweep, beating the UAE earlier on today by 6 wickets with 40 balls to spare. Coben Bosch led the charges, producing a superb 3 for 12 in his 4 overs, while Andrich Norkia claimed 2, with George Linder adding just 1. The chase was then routine from there on, but the story really did belong to Bosch.
Luckily, I had the luxury of watching KG, Anna and Quena going about their business. So I think there was enough in the wicket that if you hit the wicket quite hard, I think 1 or 2 balls actually stood up quite nicely and I got the better end of the result. KG got a bit unlucky early on with a top edge going for 6. So I think we kept the plan quite simple.
For Pakistan, they claimed a superb 8th spot after a 102 victory over Namibia earlier on today as well. Live right now, though, our co-host India with the Netherlands. The coin has been tossed with India opting to bat first. As things stand, India are 18 for the loss of 1. In football, the FNB Stadium is set to host PSL's blockbuster of the season as table toppers Orlando Pirates take on current league champions Mamelodi Sundowns. The Buccaneers on 38 points and Sundowns right behind them on 32. But bear in mind, the Brazilians do have a game in hand here. And despite the tension and the magnitude of this occasion, Pirates head coach Abdesalam Owadu has refused to call this a title decider.
It doesn't change too much for us, It's why I really praise my players to be focused in our target and to go without any pressure, to be really free in their mind.
This game kicks off at 7:30. In the Premier League tonight, leaders Arsenal want to extend their lead to 7 points when they come up against Wolves at 10. Finally, on the tennis court, 4T Jessica Pegula saw off Iva Jovic 6-4, 6-2 for a spot in that quarterfinals of the Dubai Champs. Tato Moloto, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Problems out in Parktown. The very latest details on what's happening on the roads. Karabo Charlie, over to you.
Sure, John. At this stage, Parktown driving through the Joburg CBD heading towards Boyson's, traffic heavily backed up. This is on the M1 southbound between Killarney Bends and the double-decker section. Also, if you're leaving Sandton heading towards the M1, we still have slow-moving traffic on Greyston Drive between Sandton Drive and Catherine Street. In Lambton, Germiston, traveling towards Alberton, expect some delays. This is on the N17 westbound between Osborne Road and Vids Rifles. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. You're now listening to 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Still to come on 702 Drive on that Chiefs, Pirates Sundowns match tonight. Yeah, everyone's saying not a title decider. Yeah, right. They know. It's a 6-point game. It's huge. But the great thing for neutrals, if there are any out there in all of this, is that for the first time in a good many years now, and I would call it 5 seasons, we actually have a title decider. We look ahead to it with Mthokozisi Dube, who's editor at Far Post. Looking forward to talking to him shortly. But Tato, we were talking about the way in which some people resort to, let's just call it what it is, violence, using their fists and hands very, very early in a dispute, and that for them becomes the way to settle things. But then we've been getting some really good and I think quite thoughtful messages from people saying, listen, I was taught that it's rough out there and I need to be able to take care of myself, and this is the line over which somebody's going to step, and if they do, this is what you need to do in response. And there are other people who are saying, I'm teaching the same to the young people in my life. I mean, what's been your journey with all of that?
To be quite honest, John, I get why people are split in between, because
Yes.
you don't want to be taken advantage of, and you want people to sort of understand whatever authority you walk in whatever space it is. But to be quite honest with you, for me, I choose to fight with words instead of fists, simply because
Yes.
words build legacies, fists build regrets. You
Yes,
know?
yes.
If I can say something that will leave a lasting impact on you, that matters more to me than whether I've hurt you enough. Because here's the thing about wounds, they heal, hey? But
Yes.
words last.
Yeah, and I mean, you're good with words, and we all know that from the work that you do here and on 947. But if you've been faced with somebody who feels they can't match you in that department, have you ever found people saying, okay, Clever, let's settle this on my terms?
I'm a big guy, but I can run fast.
Oh, okay. Show us. There you go. Sure. Usain Bolt has just left the studio. Give us your thoughts on that all-important issue. I think it is an important one. 072-702-1702 and 011-883-0702. You're listening to Drive on 702 with me, John Perlman. Coming up a little bit later in the show, Oren Singh is keeping his eye on a very different kind of battle going on at the Madlanga Commission. And when I say battle, it's a wrestle, isn't it? An intricate combing over facts and words and what they mean. In the witness chair is the Deputy National Commissioner of Police in South Africa, General Shadrack Sibiya. As I said a little earlier, you might have been tuned in then and heard me. First part of every process involving a witness at the Madlanga Commission is that they get to go through their statement where they're on fairly sure ground. It's not completely steady, but everything is framed by what it is that they've chosen to come and say. After that, gets a little looser, a little bit more open, and a lot more choppy. And Oren Singh, EWN reporter, is keeping a close eye on that. We'll hear a little bit later as well about a safety rating given to one of the most popular Chinese car brands in South Africa. It's the source of quite a bit of dispute. I know you'll be interested in the details. We'll come through that at 20 minutes past 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Okay, let's turn to that Pirates Sundowns game and welcome to 702 Drive Mthokozisi Dube, who's editor of the online platform The Far Post. Mthokozisi, welcome. It's great to have you with us. I was just looking back over the records. The last time we had a real title race that went down to the last day, 2019-20, Sundowns winning it by 2 points from Chiefs, who some might argue really could and should have taken it, but lost it in the dying stages. And then after that, Downs by 13 from Amazulu, by 15 from Cape Town City, by 14 from Pirates, then 13 from Pirates. Sundowns 12 ahead of Pirates last season. You could say the gap is narrowing, but you couldn't really call those a race. This year is different. Do you have any idea why?
Yeah, look, I think Orlando Pirates have been building their squad over the last couple of years. You can see how they've dominated in the Cup competitions. I think they've swept everything that was there in terms of the Cup since Jose Rivero came 3 years ago. I think the only Cup that they missed last season was the Nedbank Cup, which was won by Kaizer Chiefs, but they won the MTN 8, which have done in the last 4 seasons. So I think that also builds confidence in them that, yes, we can win things. But also, they've consistently been building their squad, blending it nicely with players that are coming from their youth. Players like Relebohile Mofokeng, who's very important for them now. Players like Mkhaon Kota, who has since left to Saudi. Mbegeze Limbogazi has come through from the youth ranks. But they've also brought in some experienced players, consistently, and they've got a very good squad. They're very competitive. But it also comes at a time when Sundowns are actually on a decline.
Yes.
They've not been the same Sundowns since Miguel Cardoso took over the team from Mangoba Mngiti, who took over from Roland Mokoena and Peter Musimane. So they've not been the same team. They've not had the same dominance. You can see even in the Champions League, they struggled a bit. Not the usual, Sundowns that we know that has this cutting edge, scores a lot of goals, dominates games, and they've got that fear factor. They're no longer the same side, and it looks possible that we may have a different league champion in South Africa for the first time in 9 years.
It's a much tighter title race, and I'm looking at Chiefs, same number of games played as Sundowns, just 2 points behind Sekhukhune United in the mix, although they've played quite a few games more. AmaZulu are doing pretty well as well, but again, having played extra games. Is this good for football in general? You're out there living football 7 days a week. Are fans talking about the Betway Premiership with a lot more interest and excitement? And might this, for instance, put a few more people on seats in the stadium?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's when one team wins the league title for almost a decade. People tend to then call it a farmers' league.
Yes.
The dominance that we see with a Bayern Munich in Germany. It's not a nice thing. You also want to see the big teams. Kaizer Chiefs must be there in the mix. Orlando Pirates must be there in the mix. Your AmaZulus have got to be there. I think it's nice when you go to the last game of the season not knowing who's going to win the league. I think I miss that feeling, where
yes.
on the last day you're following a game in Polokwane, for instance. You're following another game in Cape Town to see if this one wins, maybe the league will go this. So we miss that. We really, really miss that. And it looks like this could be the season where we get back to that kind of thing, like we saw in 2019 when Kaizer Chiefs was chasing and they lost it on the last day.
Does any of this benefit Bafana Bafana? I know that we have some players who are abroad, but most of them are based domestically. If the Betway Premiership is competitive and fierce, does the national team gain from it? And if so, how?
Look, the national team does benefit from it, obviously because, primarily the national team coach picks his squad from the Betway Premiership. You go to an AFCON, you find out of 27 players, 22 of them play in the domestic league. So the more competitive it is, the more these teams do well and they go on to do well on the continent. I think that experience, that exposure on the continent is important for them, to also go on and compete in these competitions. But also, when different teams are doing very well, they obviously then, get on the continent, they're doing better. You also have chances of South African players being spotted by scouts from overseas, and, it opens doors for them, to go overseas. It definitely does benefit the national team. The healthier the league, the more competitive the league, I think the bigger the pool of players that the coach can actually pick from. So it definitely does benefit. We saw in the last AFCON, not this one, the AFCON in Ivory Coast in 2024, we saw how Bafana did very well with, players that dominantly played in the local league. So it definitely helps.
So we got a question for you from Marius, who asks, what about Pirates' new coach? Any influence, thoughts?
100%. I think he's been incredible. I think you can see the difference that he's brought. I was actually listening to him a few weeks ago where he was saying that the players that are on the bench, he doesn't call them substitutes. He calls them impact players. I think the one thing that is done very well is you can see he's actually kept all his players ready to step onto the pitch and make a difference. He's actually given Relebohile Mofokeng a new lease of life. Obviously, when Jose Rivero, he struggled a bit at the start of the season, struggled at the AFCON, but he's bringing goals, he's providing assists, scored 3 goals in the last 3 games, So he's actually doing something really different, plays him in a different position, not the usual wing, plays him as a 10, which I think is also good for the national team because they have an extra option in terms of that 10 role. He's actually brought in a couple of new players into the team. They're actually fitting in very well. Yanela Mbutuma is scoring goals, up front. He's starting games. Tsepang Moremi has come in and he's fitting like a glove. You'd think he's been there for forever. When Sishenduli was there before the injury, I think he came in fitting nicely. So he's actually broadened the selection base for the team in terms of players that are ready to come on and compete and make a difference. So he's doing very well.
What happens tonight?
Tonight is a very important game that could be a decider of the league title because if Pirates wins the game, they are 9 points clear, and 9 points clear. This is a team that has not lost. The last time Pirates lost a game was on the 19th of October, and this was away in DRC in the Champions League to Lupopo. They've actually gone 10 games without a loss. And these are, they've literally won those 10 games. There is 2 that they drew. One of them was against the Mamelodi Sundowns. So they've done exceptionally well. If they do win tonight, I think they will be in a very good position to go on and win the league. For Sundowns, it's a night where they need to close the gap, just reduce the gap to 3 points and make it a bit much manageable in terms of the title race. So yeah, it's going to be a very decisive night tonight.
Thanks so much, Mthokozisi Dube, editor at Far Post. I'm curious to know, as a Sundowns fan, obviously, and deservedly, you've really had 8 wonderful years and really enjoyed it. But are you enjoying a closer race this time round? I'm aware that in the years, and I've listed them all over the last 5, where Sundowns has won comfortably, that there's been plenty of other moments to jangle your nerves, the bid to add to previous success in African competition and so on. But is it more fun when it's close? I can never make up my mind. I must admit, there are days when I love closely fought sports events, but I have to say I only enjoy them if we win. And we can mean a whole range of things, from the Springboks to the Proteas to various football teams and Bafana and so on. And there are days when I just think, I wish this could be really easy. Win every game by 3 goals, finish 10, 12 points ahead. But Sundowns fans, let's hear from you. And Buccaneers, obviously you having a season to remember already. More to come, you hope. And you may want to comment on tonight as well. 072 702 1702.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
The National Commissioner did not really have serious or any objection. He just was agreed that, look, this is a task team. It was not meant to be a permanent structure. It can be done.
Shadrach Sabia saying that he didn't know that the minister would disband the PKTT in December 2024. He wasn't surprised by it.
My goodness, that's Svia in that Madlanga commission. The guy is doing a horrible job at trying to discredit Mkhwanazi.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries, world-class team of 1,111 with one mission, awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
Naked people never skip leg day. Because naked people spend less time on insurance admin, they've got more time for lunges and Romanian deadlifts. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And it's all online, so that means no long phone calls. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start working out, like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
For Olwethu Nxumalo of Ozide Rentals and Custom Dressmaking, every stage is a story. What's your Telkom business chapter?
What made Telkom business stand out from all the rest was how fast everything was.
And with voice calling and fiber from Telkom Business, she stitches together inquiries and sources fabric online without dropping a thread.
Get unlimited VoIP 1 from 99 Rand per month and stream Connect Fiber from 399 Rand per month. Call 10213 or click telkom.co.za. T's and C's apply. Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
The Checkers Extravaganza is now on, with over 1,500 deals every week. Like Liquifruit 100% fruit juice blend, 2 litres for $49.99. Bon Aqua Pump Still Water, a 750ml 6-pack for $64.99. And Comfort Fabric Conditioner 800ml. Buy any 2 and get a third free. Save 63 Rand. Valid until 22 February, only at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Driving the conversation on 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Powered by Telkom Business. Possible begins here. This is EWN.
Shadrack Sibiya denies spying during his time in Johannesburg. And could water restrictions be the answer to the current crisis? Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya has reiterated that he did not procure spy equipment during his time at the city of Joburg. Sibiya served as the head of Group Forensic Investigation Services within the city of Joburg for 6 years from 2016. In 2022, political opponents and some city officials alleged that Sibiya had acquired spying machines, claiming he bought a 20 million rand device from an Israeli company capable of intercepting phone calls, emails and data from nearby laptops. Sibiya was later cleared when a probe by the State Security Agency found he had procured equipment used for detecting eavesdropping devices and sweeping rooms for bugs, but not for gathering intelligence. Sibiya reaffirmed his innocence at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today regarding that issue.
I wanted the chair, and I want the public, and I want the city to know that it was not spying equipment. It was equipment that should monitor what is happening, all the crimes that is committed in the city of Joburg.
Digging is back in full swing this afternoon at an informal settlement in Springs, Ekurhuleni. Locals on the search for gold have returned to the site after being chased away by police earlier today. Over the past few days, desperate community members have been digging in that area following rumours of untapped mineral deposits near a disused mine shaft. Earlier today, dozens of heavily armed Metro Police officers moved in, chasing those people away from the city of Ekurhuleni's owned land. Alfara Mushwana is there.
What was once a vacant patch of land in the Gugulethu informal settlement has turned into a treasure trove, with locals digging deep trenches in search of gold. Wheelbarrows, picks and shovels have been the tools of trade over the past few days. Earlier today, a strong police presence swarmed the site and halted all activity. But less than an hour after the officers left, many returned, and this man was the first to go back to what he calls his bread and butter.
The police are just doing their job, and so are we. If they arrest me, then there will be nothing I can do. I'm afraid, but what else can I do?
He says that a piece of gold smaller than a rock can fetch no less than 1,900 Rand. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Springs in Ekurhuleni.
From dust to dry taps, the People's Water Forum says tough decisions need to be made to deal with the country's water supply issues, including putting restrictions in place. The forum, which is made up of several civil society organizations, held a media briefing at Constitution Hill in Johannesburg today. It comes after many parts of Gauteng were left without water for over 2 weeks. Tabiso Koba reports.
While Gauteng's recent water crisis has started to subside, with affected areas being reconnected and reservoirs filling up, the People's Water Forum says the root problems haven't been addressed. This includes preventable issues like aging infrastructure and natural disasters like droughts and water scarcity. Ravin Singh from Joburg's Water Crisis Committee says the issue of high consumption will have to be dealt with at some point.
Our own thinking down the line, and people need to be honest, we need hard restrictions in the city of Johannesburg until we fix the water situation. But what we're saying is that government must enter into a process of consulting communities before you go down that road.
Ferial Adam from Watercan says people need to understand South Africa is a water-scarce country and act accordingly.
And we have to start asking the very uncomfortable questions. Should we all be having a swimming pool in our yard? The time is probably that's not the way to go.
The civil organizations are calling on government to declare the persistent water challenges a national disaster. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Public Works Minister Dean McPherson says a new state property company announced by the President last week will result in the most significant reform in the management of state assets since 1994. He says the platform will allow for more income to be generated for the state through its property portfolio, while also cutting down on the billions spent in leasing private property. McPherson has shed more light on how the company will operate during a debate on the State of the Nation address in Parliament this afternoon. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The state spends R6 billion every year leasing property, while prime property stands vacant or has been hijacked. Minister Dean McPherson says while the state sits on a massive asset base, it does nothing to generate income to maintain it. A year in the making, McPherson says the new property vehicle will allow for better asset management and property development.
It introduces the best in asset management, development finance and property development. It establishes a verified digital asset register.
He says the second phase of the project, which will focus on refurbishing underutilized public buildings, will also create jobs.
Nearly 100,000 direct construction and indirect jobs are projected, with up to 60 billion rand in broader urban economic activity.
McPherson says the vehicle will also include a dedicated capability to prepare underutilized land to become bankable projects for development, including housing. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And a Spanish man has been arrested for allegedly hacking a hotel booking website to reserve luxury rooms for as little as 1 cent. The 20-year-old is believed to have manipulated the site's payment system, altering the validation process of an electronic payment platform so that bookings appeared fully paid. But only a minimal 1 cent was actually charged for the rooms, which normally cost up to €1,000 a night. At the time of his arrest, the man was staying at a luxury Madrid hotel with a 4-night reservation totaling €4,000. While gold is trading at $4,921.48 an ounce, the rand is at $15.98 to the dollar, $21.69 to the pound, $18.92 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.42 a barrel.
Heading towards four ways, traffic sluggish in Bryanston, N1 southbound from Rivonia Road to Winnie Mandela Drive, Parktown travelling through the Joburg CBD. Traffic remains heavily backed up on the M1 southbound from Killarney Bends to the double-decker section in Lambton, Germiston. Roadwork still slowing down traffic towards Alberton, N17 westbound between Osborne Road and Wits Rifles.
In your auto sports, huge game in the Betway Premiership tonight. Defending champions Sundowns take on lock leaders Orlando Pirates at the FNB Stadium, while Arsenal want to make it 7 points clear in the Premier League when they come up against Wolves. There's also the first leg playoffs that continue in the UEFA Champions League. Tell you all about it just before 5.
A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 16 degrees, peaking at 29. Pretoria 17 and 30, and Vereeniging 15 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibia has reiterated that he did not procure spy equipment during his time at the city of Joburg.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 4. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for staying with us. If you joined us an hour or so ago, great to have you with us. Coming up over the next half an hour or so, very interesting study done at the University of Cape Town, which has found, well, I'll read the first sentence of a report. Rising remuneration among black South Africans has dramatically changed the racial makeup of the country's band of middle and top income earners over the course of 3 decades of democratic rule. We'll go into some of the details, but crucially, look at the implications of what UCT's Liberty Institute of Strategic Marketing has found. We'll do that at about 20 minutes past 4. Before that, we'll focus our attention on a statement made by the e-hailing company Bolt. This prompted by the tragic murder of Edward Satlat, who was Isaac Satlat, I beg your pardon, who was driving a vehicle, and I'm sure you have familiarized yourself with the story, was assaulted and eventually murdered by the people he had picked up when they logged on to the app and wanted a ride. Tragic ending. But Bolt is raising questions about the issue of driver profiles and how they can be used and abused. We'll talk to Melithemba Mguni, Secretary General of the E-Hailing Partners Council. That's coming up in just a moment. Interesting stuff in the news bulletin, of course. As I mentioned earlier, Oren Singh will pick up on some of what you're hearing there from the Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibia. He continues to testify. Oren continues to listen, and he'll join us, Oren that is, at 10 minutes past 5. Right now it's 11 minutes past 4.
702. WhatsApp John
On 072
702
1702.
So John, on the soccer going the first time, I went in 1989 with my dad. He took me. We went to go watch Kaizer Chiefs versus Mavako Swallows at Soccer City at the time. The stadium was built that year, one of the first few games. And I was in Standard 7, and I enjoyed that game, but came home with such a headache, having had vuvuzelas and screaming. I think Chiefs won that game. It was a JPS smooth. But enjoyed it, still memorable. And yeah, I've taken many of my family members, my kids, to the World Cup just to be able to experience what I did. Kevin here from Pretoria.
Good afternoon, Tata John. Tata John, on the issue of Kurulenu, the Action SA. The Action SA, they don't have a leader. Herman Mashaba is politically bankrupt. He doesn't have those qualities of being a leader, especially in politics, maybe in business, but not in politics. I think there were 3 or 4 motion of no confidence that were brought against the mayor. The same Action SA protected the mayor, not being removed. So who's fooling who here?
To take care of myself.
Mr. John,
Line over which
people, they must write off Sundowns at their own risk. Sundowns, they know how to deal with the league. Chiefs and Pirates supporters must remember that the Pirates and Arsenal, same WhatsApp group. Every season they always do like this, but at the end of the day, league is going to Man City and Sundowns. So people, they mustn't carried away by 6 points of Pirates. We Sundowns, we know how to grind this league. So you must remember that these are the champions. They know how to do it.
Thanks for those messages. Can I just remind you in the light of the last message, please, I love it that you keep our programming on while you're sending a message, and I know you don't want to miss anything, but just for those 30, 45 seconds that you're sending a message, just turn us down, because I wanted to hear you, but I was actually hearing myself a little bit in the background. But thank you. Keep those coming on 011 883 0702. If you want to chat, and 072 7021 702 for WhatsApp, text or voice, it's up to you. 14 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
Okay, let's check out what's happening on the roads. Getting jammed in Bryanston. Here's Karabo Charlie to tell you exactly where.
Yeah, that's heading towards the Four Ways area. Bryanston's traffic is sluggish on the N1 southbound from Rivonia Road to Winnie Mandela Drive. Driving through Parktown, heading into Boysons, there's still slow-moving traffic. This is on the M1 southbound between Killarney Bends and the double-decker section. Lambton, Germiston area, roadworks slowing down traffic. This is traveling towards Alberton. N17 westbound from Osborne Road to Wits Rifles. Otherwise, traffic generally not looking too bad. No serious accidents have been reported. However, I already see traffic building up. That's leaving the Sandton area heading towards Midrand. That's the M1 northbound between Ethel Oaklands and the Patlu interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Stay with 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
16 minutes past 4 on 702 Drive. Now, the e-hailing company Bolt, as a response to the tragic murder of Isaac Satlat, a 22-year-old Nigerian national who was driving a vehicle on the Bolt platform and was picked up passengers who assaulted and eventually murdered him. Bolt is saying, making notification that Mr. Satlat was not the registered owner of the Bolt driver profile. Said the profile belonged to someone else who is the registered driver, has an active account on the Bolt platform. It is believed that this person, Wiseman Makobe, completed the required verification process. After that, Mr. Satlat then began driving a shift using that profile and presumably the same vehicle. I must admit, it really opened a window into the world of e-hailing drivers and how this all operates. But let's get a perspective now from someone who joined us when this news of this tragic incident first broke. Melithemba Mguni is Secretary General of the E-Hailing Partners Council. Mr. Mguni, welcome and thanks very much for your time. It does seem as if this kind of profile sharing is perhaps too easy. Do you as the council see it as a problem? And if you do you have ideas as to how it can be prevented? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to the listeners. It is a big problem. It's something that is easy for those that are doing it to do it. And it's not new. This is a practice that is happening for a long time that we have complained about. And fortunately, on the Uber side, they have done much about it. Hence, it's not there. But unfortunately, on Bolt, they have not done much about it. Looking at their statement, they want to portray themselves as a responsible company. But at the same time, if you read through deeply and you put your thoughts, you realize that their system is infiltrated. They are aware of this and they are not doing anything about it.
What has Uber done that Bolt hasn't done? Because presumably from what you're saying, it is eminently doable.
They have done what we requested, a selfie verification. So often on your Uber platform, so when you log on to the app, it requires you to do a selfie verification.
Right.
So you will have to put your app, face your face until it says it confirms that you are the right person. So without that, you can't go online. What it also does is that once it picks up something that is strange, it will, even during you operating while you are online, it will ask you for that. I'm sure if for those that are users of the app, during a trip or somehow, if it feels something is dodgy or you've rerouted or something, it will pop in on a message both to the driver and to the passenger to say, are you okay? Once one of you says that they are not okay,
yes,
they will either call you, or that thing, especially on the driver's side, it will pop up because there is an assumption that maybe the trip is diverted because someone has hijacked the vehicle, and then there has to be that confirmation to say, I'm okay.
And of course, the implications for the drivers on the Bolt platform are considerable if indeed there are people who are profile sharing or impersonating, because the consequences, and I'll just read from the Bolt statement, the individual is operating unlawfully and outside the scope of the platform's protections. Then they go on to say issues like injury, disability, serious injury, the event of death, coverage of medical expenses, and so on will not apply. They also say anyone who's found doing this will be immediately removed from the platform. Do you know why people do this? Are they looking just to maximize revenue? For example, if you can get someone else to drive your vehicle and you get a share of the profits, there's a chance to make something extra. Is that the main driving force?
Yes, there are a number of reasons for it. You would understand that there's a thin line between someone who's hungry and morality.
Yes,
so,
yes.
There is also an issue whereby the platforms do not account for deactivating people. So there are a lot of people that get deactivated after investing so much into the platforms. And there are others that are deactivated on the basis of their vehicle not in a good condition and so forth. And that's when someone comes, they've got an alternative vehicle, they will use that one. Instead of fixing their vehicle, sometimes they don't afford to fix it. They take another car, and that's when they would use it. Or alternatively, they are deactivated themselves for whatever reasons. They go on to their cousin, to their friend, to recruit them to sign up on the platform. And then they use their profile. And it has become something that there are a lot of people that, oh, I can have this profile and someone will rent it and pay me a certain amount of money. So those are the reasons why people do it. They are not eligible themselves.
Yes.
If you look at the from the statement, there are some that are saying David did not have a professional driver's license. Particularly because of that, he had to use someone who does have those requirements to sign up. So those are the reasons that are there that unfortunately compromises the service a lot.
Thank you so much. Very interesting. I must say, a lot of stuff there I didn't know about. Melithemba Mguni, Secretary General of the E-Hailing Partners Council. Uber drivers, Bolt drivers, and passengers out there. It would seem that if there is uncertainty and imprecision and an undermining of the integrity of verifying who drivers are, if that's all happening, there are implications both for drivers and for passengers. We'll see if we can get Bolt on the show and chat to them about that. 7:02 Drive, 23 minutes past 4.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Now, the Liberty Institute of Strategic Marketing down at the University of Cape Town has just done a survey and come up with some very interesting statistics. Just reading from a report that came out on Bloomberg. I'll read you the first sentence, or part of the first sentence, and this will get us set up to introduce our guest and hear from them. About 41% of white households made more than 75,000 Rand a month in 2024, down from 61% in 2012, while the proportion of black households in that bracket climbed to 41% from 29% over the same period. Rising remuneration among black South Africans has dramatically changed the racial makeup of the country's band of middle and top income earners over the course of 3 decades of democratic rule. So let's find out more about this, and welcome to the show, Paul Egan, who is managing consultant at the University of Cape Town's Liberty Institute of Strategic Marketing. Mr. Egan, welcome, and thanks very much for your time. In doing this study, what was the Institute actually looking to understand better? Good afternoon to you.
Thanks, John. So we are focused on marketing, and we're interested in consumer trends. And yeah, there was this idea around splitting up the population using LSMs or lifestyle measures, and an LSM-5. I couldn't tell you what an LSM-5 is. So
yes,
what we've done is broken up using one simple variable. So it's household income, and we've used government's own threshold. So when you qualify for a housing subsidy, when you qualify for a child support grant, and interestingly, when you qualify for a FLISP, which is a gap market housing subsidy. So if you're earning over $22,000 as a household per month, you don't qualify for a FLISP anymore, and that's pretty much where all government support ends, and that's where our middle class starts. So I sense a lot of people in their cars right now might be thinking, am I middle class? Because we've also defined upper class as well.
Yes.
So our middle class goes from 22,000 Rand per month to 75,000 Rand a month. And what we can see is since 2012, and using the latest figures from Stats SA in 2024, we can see that the middle class has both grown, but the proportions have changed as well in terms of the racial makeup. So if we go back to 2012, the middle class was 46% black,
yes,
and 38% white. And in 2024, that proportion changed quite significantly. So now we're looking at 63% black and only 19% white. And we also looked at the upper class. So if you're earning over 75,000 Rand as a household, then you're part of our upper class. And we can see that the Black African component of that cohort has also increased both in number and proportion. So now we have an upper class where we've got equal numbers of black and white households making up that group over 75,000.
So I'm interested to know, does this look in any way at source of income? Because if black people have greater opportunities to earn money, you would have thought that would reflect well on the transformation policies of their employers. So do you have proportions for who works for government and who works in the private sector?
We don't have proportions of who works in which sector, but what we do know is that the vast proportion of income comes from salary, so
yes,
or businesses. So things like investments, they make up a small portion. They are there, but not in significant numbers. Look, the point is as well that the black middle class and upper class, they've grown both in terms of number of people, number of households, and also spending power. And if we think of our economy, like many other economies around the world, we're on what economists describe as a skills-based trajectory. So think of any industry, those sectors are requiring higher and higher skills. So what has changed is firstly the number of people with tertiary education, so
yes,
degrees, etc. And secondly, because we're getting to a period where the black middle class, in many cases, has been established for some time, we're getting a second wave coming through. So the children of children who've grown up in middle class circumstances, they've grown up, they've got an education, they form their own households, and they themselves form part of the middle class.
Thanks so much, Paul Egan. He's joining us from the University of Cape Town's Liberty Institute of Strategic Marketing. Well, one response to that on X, on social media, Kusela Diko, who you may know, an ANC Member of Parliament, also sits on the NEC and the NWC. For that party, says, well, and this is, by the way, above a link to the MoneyWeb story, which gives some of the details that I've just discussed with Paul Egan. Kusela Diko, well, now look at that, 2 exclamation marks. Firmly puts to bed the lie that my ANC policies do not firstly benefit black people, and secondly, the growing narrative of ANC policies benefiting the so-called political elite. This is big, she says in capital letters. This is important. The facts speak for themselves. The ANC has done nothing for the people in 30 years, they said. So this is both a story with statistical implications and economic implications, and I'm sure it'll spark some political debate as well. 702 Drive, 29 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, good afternoon to you. Much better today than we had yesterday. How's things going?
Indeed, John, good afternoon to you. Shall I try that again? There we go. That should be better. Good afternoon. The JSE All Share up nearly 2%, in fact, up 1.94% at 121,730 points. Financials up 2%, industrials up 1.34%, and resources up at 2.5%. Gold is slightly stronger. Platinum roughly where it was yesterday. But I think what we're really seeing is, yes, financials are doing very nicely, but it's a strong day across the board. So Pan-African resources are up 7.48%, John. How's this? They reported their revenue was up by over 150% in the 6 months to the end of December. Their headline earnings per share up by over 500%. That's what a much stronger gold price gets you. They were able to increase production, and of course they've declared an interim dividend. Same story at DRD Gold. Their headline earnings also for the 6 months to December up by 98%. So all of that having an impact. Glencore's been reporting on its copper production. They're up 6%. Grindrod, the construction logistics firm, up 6% as well. They reported they're now expecting both their earnings per share and headline earnings per share to double, to be up by over 100% in the year ending December. The Matola terminals improved its operations. The Maputo port handled record volumes. Now, if Transnet does a lot better, I don't know if the Maputo port is going to declare more records. On the other hand, you've still got to move the stuff somehow. So Grindrod having a very good day. Anglo's up 5.36%. DRD Gold, those results being reflected 4%. And then Valterra up 3.89%, and Telkom up 3.5%. Still, I think, trading off the momentum of what happened earlier in the week. Greencoat Renewables, they're down 4.5%. Sabania is down 3.84%, and Karoo is down 1.71%. And I should mention inflation dropping to 3.5% in January. Food inflation still at 4.4%. But John, it's a complicated story. White rice has dropped by 11% in a year, which I find fascinating. Maize meal inflation was over 9% in December, but only 2.6% in January. So that inflation's coming quite down. But the story, of course, is meat, and we know this. So beef is up by around 30%. Pork prices are up by nearly 20%. In the US, futures gaining, tech stocks advancing. There seems to be an easing of the concerns around AI. They are releasing minutes from the last US Federal Reserve meeting. People will be going through that. The gold price, $4,953.36. Platinum, $2,071.05. Brent crude, $69.11. The rand to the dollar, 16.08 to the euro, 19.01 to the British pound, 21.78. On the Money Show tonight, Gloria Sorobe, Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. 28 minutes to 5. The latest news now. Problems with procuring antiretrovirals. The health minister's been speaking. Mbali Dlamini has the details.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has moved to assure Parliament that tender hiccups for the supply of antiretrovirals will not impact its treatment program. Two companies that supply the drugs applied for business rescue last year, and now one of them is being taken over by a company which has taken the department to court over the same tender following suspicions of price fixing. But parliamentarians have slammed the department for not exercising sufficient due diligence before awarding that tender. Lindsay Dendlinger takes a look.
With the department's Digital Vibes tender debacle still fresh in the minds of MPs, many are sceptical about the takeover of the Bars Pharmaceuticals tender by Hetero. Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says he's not involved in tender processes, but the department does not scrutinise the financials of companies which apply for tenders.
We cannot examine balance sheets because, Chairperson, for us to do so, I must state it outright, we do not have any skill whatsoever.
But the EFF's Naledi Cherwa claimed Motsoaledi was misleading the committee because it's a requirement of the Public Finance Management Act to determine the financial capacity of tender applicants.
There are too many red flags for us to not be suspicious with what is happening with this ARV tender.
Motsoaledi has assured the committee that the drug supply at state facilities has not been affected by the tender problems, with a 3-month stockpile at clinics being standard practice. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Free State High Court says Murwari Cholota will have to answer to corruption charges that she faces. This after it dismissed her bid to avoid prosecution in a matter involving her former boss, Ace Magashule. The conclusion of Cholota's special plea clears the way for the high-stakes asbestos corruption trial to resume next month, following several setbacks since the first arrests in 2020. The state alleges that the 255 million rand asbestos project was irregularly awarded and that work was either never performed or done poorly, with funds diverted to the accused. Nugukanya Mdambo reports.
In 2014, a joint venture between Edwin Sodi's company, Blackhead Consulting and Diamond Hill Trading, was meant to remove asbestos roofing from 300,000 houses in Free State townships. After the inflated tender was funded by the Free State government, the state in the asbestos case claimed Murwari Cholota sent requests for kickbacks to now slain businessman Ignatius Mpambani, who was Sodi's business partner. This is what the state believes Cholota must be held accountable for, although she maintains her innocence. The asbestos project was botched and cost the Free State government millions of rands in wasted public funds. The state will present its evidence to the court when the main asbestos trial resumes next month, with Cholota, Magashule, Sodi and Mpambani's widow, Michelle, in the dock. Nugukanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News.
In Greece, taxi drivers have kicked off a nationwide strike against new rules which they say favour private vehicles for hire. The strike is expected to last 2 days, with drivers saying they are fighting to protect their right to have access to a public service mode of transport and not private cartels. They are demanding a deadline of 2035 for the transition to electromobility, arguing that the measure is currently unworkable due to a significant lack of charging stations for electric vehicles. While the strike is expected to last 2 days, the drivers have threatened to launch an indefinite strike in the near future if their demands are not met. A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 15 and 17 degrees and highs of between 29 and 30.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic in the poles of area on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven. Bryanston traffic pressure on the N1 southbound from the Butloons change to Winnie Mandela Drive, and in Kyalami expect some delays approaching the intersection of the R55 and Allendale.
The top story in EWN, Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has moved to assure Parliament that tender hiccups for the supply of antiretrovirals will not impact its treatment program.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Just give us a sense of where we are with this foot and mouth disease outbreak. How serious are things at the moment?
It's far greater than what we've ever experienced in the history. I had a look. I think the first outbreak in South Africa was 1904.
What does it actually mean in terms of the affected animals?
The moment that I break on my farm, there's a restriction of movement on my farm. So I can't sell, I can't move my animals. It can be up to 12 months.
What does it mean for consumers?
There's nothing wrong with red meat in South Africa to consume. We have of the best meat in the world.
Johan Kotsep.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Whether you love watching great films or dream of making them, the Joburg Film Festival, in partnership with MultiChoice Group, a Canal Plus company, from the 3rd to the 8th of March, has something for you. Experience powerful local and international cinema on the big screen and tap into the JBX Talks, where the people shaping film unpack the craft, the business and the future of storytelling. It's more than a festival, it's a front row seat to the film world. Book your tickets now at joburgfilmfestival.co.za.
We're on the ground and in the air with Thulani Sijo, founder of Take a Pic Drones. What's the flight plan for your connectivity?
The need for stable network connectivity is an absolute must in my field.
And with Telkom Business Fiber and Flexon, Thulani uploads high-res tower inspections and navigates seamlessly on the go. Get Stream Connect Fiber from 399 Rand per month and Flex on 4 Pro from 219 Rand per month. Call 10213 or click telcom.co.za. T's and C's apply. Telcom Business. Possible begins here.
Smart Steve from Momentum. Hello.
Stevie, it's Clinton Myers, the Minister of National Treasures.
Mr. Minister, how can Momentum Insure help you?
This economy is not helping with the cost of my gusheshe, my tires, man.
Just get Momentum Insure's safety returns and get up to 30% cash back, even if you claim.
Is it true?
Stru's Bob, Mr. Minister. Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
Today's forecast is calm conditions inside your Mazda CX-5. It'll be warm, so likely your cabin chills before you even ask. Patches of scattered traffic, but with heads-up display and lane keep assist, you'll feel like you're alone on the road. Clouds this evening. Perfect for that Bose sound system. And later, skin tingles as you take that curve a little too beautifully. The feeling will find you in the Mazda CX-5. Wonder awaits.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Yo, if only anybody could have predicted ARV procurement being a problem after the withdrawal of US aid from South Africa, who were covering the costs of a lot of ARVs. No way to predict it. Absolutely impossible. Obviously, the department said everything would be fine.
They've grown up, they've got an education, they've formed their own households, and they've...
Hi there. I'm listening to the statistics around the middle class and things like that. I think it does have to be taken into context in the following way as well, that, you know, if it's 70% of black, what was it, 80% of black people or something like that is now middle class, and only 19% of white people are middle class, I think the context of that needs to be delved into a little bit deeper, because if you go look at that proportion of blacks that are in the middle class as a percentage of the total, labor eligible population in the black community, you're going to find proportionally it is still smaller than in the white community. So that 19% that you see there of middle class people being white is still in the white community. You probably find that 70% of whites are still middle class, right? So I think we need to look into those stats a little bit deeper.
Well, I mean, the way to look into the stats is to look at the stats themselves. 41% of white households made more than 75,000 Rand a month in 2024. That's not 19%. That is the stat. 41% of white households. We're dealing, by the way, with two things that are related but different. First of all, what percentage of white households are actually in that middle class category, and then what percentage of people who are in that middle class category are white? They're not going to be identical. They're different figures. Staying with numbers, the point made that as soon as the United States stopped funding our antiretrovirals, then there was going to be a problem. Well, let's also keep those numbers realistically in perspective. The United States was funding 17% of our HIV/AIDS program, 17. The South African government was funding the majority of the spending, between 74 and 80%. There were some other smaller contributors as well. Now, the point I'm making is not to excuse the fact that the tender's gone badly wrong, but to link it directly one-to-one with the pulling out of the United States from that form of aid to South Africa is, I think, inaccurate and imprecise. So, numbers, important. 17 minutes to 5.
EWN Sport.
Right, cricket's out at the ICC T20 World Cup, and of course, huge football match tonight out at Orlando. Tato Moloto has details of both.
Thank you so much, John. Indeed, let's start at that ICC T20 World Cup, where co-host India are actually just at the crease, just for the fun of it at this point in time. They secured their Super 8 spot already, so this is just to wrap up the group stages. They are with the Netherlands. They chose to bat first, and as things stand right now, they are 110 for 4. For the Proteas, they completed their group stages in a clean sweep, beating the UAE by 6 wickets with 40 balls to spare earlier on today. Coben Bosch tells us a little bit about how they won this game after he stunned with the 3 for 12.
I think we had a luxury to have a really good training session yesterday to get a feel of what the conditions will be like here, and I think the little bit of weather played its part, especially with the seamers that we have getting extra bit of pace and bounce.
For Pakistan, they claimed a Super 8 spot after a 102-run win over Namibia. In football, Orlando Pirates will look to make it 6 points clear right at the top of the log when they come up against the Mamelodi Sundowns in a high-stakes Betway Premiership clash. Despite the build-up, Pirates captain Kosinati CBC has played down the talks of this being a title decider, calling it yet another game in a long season. And Sundown skipper Ronwen Williams has echoed that sentiment, insisting that it's all about securing 3 points and not crowning a champion.
The most important thing about this game is 3 points. It's not about being a league title decider. There's too many games to play. I think we still have close to 15 games left. So there's a lot of points to play for. And that's what we're focusing on, is just going out there, collecting maximum points and, just closing the gap.
Kickoff is at 7:30. At the same time, the Donny Craven Stadium sees Stallies up against Magesi. The Premier League tonight has one game. Log leaders Arsenal wanting to get further and further away from Man City and extend their lead to 7 at the top. They meet Wolves in a late kickoff of 10. Finally, Stefanos Tsitsipas dispatched the 2023 Qatar Open champion Daniel Medvedev 6-3, 6-4 for a spot in the quarterfinals of the Dubai Champs. Tato Moloto, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 4:45, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Cars.coza. Let's find what moves you and let's find out what's happening out on the roads. Paulshof, we have some traffic jams there, I understand. Karabo Charlie with the details.
Yes, John, bumper traffic in the Paulshof area. This is on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven. Also in Sunning Hill, you can expect some delays on Witkoppen Road between Rivonia Road and Maxwell Drive. Bryanston traveling towards Four Ways, traffic pressure N1 South from the Platoon Interchange to Winnie Mandela Drive. While in Kyalami, expect some delays approaching the intersection of the R55 and Allendale in Parktown. Traveling through the Joburg CBD, traffic heavily backed up on the M1 southbound between Killarney Benz and the double-decker section. There's also slow-moving traffic. This is due to roadworks in the Lambton-Germiston area on the N17 westbound between Osborne Road and Wits Rifles. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
It's Carl de Koza here in another Carl de Koza production starring Carl de Koza and Cars.coza. In this country, we don't just drive cars, we love cars. So slide into our DMs on WhatsApp and let's find what moves you.
Cars.coza.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Just one thing to share with you. Quite a few people have got in touch, including people who are actually e-hailing drivers, saying in regard to the conversation we had a little bit earlier, we were chatting about safety features on the various ride-hailing systems. We were talking to Melitemba Mguni from the E-Hailing Partners Council. Quite a few people are getting in touch saying that Bolt actually does have the selfie verification safety feature. This from Courage, who describes himself as an e-hailing driver. Please kindly note that the eluded selfie verification safety feature on the Uber platform is equally applicable and enacted on the Bolt app too. Just wanted to put that on the record and clear that up. It's 12 minutes now to 5.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
We were supposed to host the MEC for transport. They've written to us to say, no, we've spoken many times to 702. We don't feel like we need to come and speak to you guys. You might have spoken to another presenter at another show. When you agree and you say, yes, I'm going to come, then mid-air you decide, no, you're not going to come because you have already spoken to 702. And were the people that are listening now listening then? Come on. And then the very same government people will be the first to say, yeah, but you don't give us platform.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Think fast. Fast downloads, fast streaming, fast wins. Because whether you're chasing high scores, deadlines, or the next episode, buffering is not part of the plan. That's why your home needs the power of OpenServe Fiber. Fast, reliable Wi-Fi that keeps up with your life. And when you sign up before the end of March, you'll score a free Netflix voucher. Level up your home connection with OpenServe Fiber and feel the difference speed makes. Visit openserve.co.za today. T's and C's apply.
Different sounds, different worlds.
Different artistic expressions, music, art, and fashion collide. Are you coming? Let's go to the place where the beat drops, the fashion pops, and the art rocks.
We're talking Focalistic, Daliwonga, Mafigi Zolo, Kurt Darren, Matera Doughboy, Zoe Mujicha, Claire Johnston from Mango Groove, the Tswani Gospel Choir, and more. Mahindra Fusion Fest, Saturday 7th March, Sunbet Arena. Tickets on Ticketmaster now. See you there.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
When the brightest brains collide in the biggest general knowledge quiz in Gauteng, it's time for the Brain of 702.
Yes, indeed. It's time to put your brilliance on display in the Brain of 702. Prove your mental might for your chance to win a share of 130,000 Rand in cash. And, of course, still up for grabs, the highly coveted title of the Brain of 702. You could win 1,500 Rand in this round and another 1,500 if you win tomorrow on Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. The Brain of 702, your brain, our stage. Are you ready to step into the spotlight? The winner of this round gets 1,500 Rand and will be crowned the Brain of the Day. They'll go on to play again tomorrow and possibly through the rest of the week, all the way to Friday afternoon. And then, there, they stand to win 10,000 Rand as the weekly Brain of 702. Ultimately, you could go on to win a further 30,000 Rand should you be declared the Brain of 702. To be a part of the action, register on primemediaplus.com and we could call to put you through our qualifier. Two contestants as always. Let's meet the first of them. Contesting in the afternoon because he won this morning with 8 points. Robinson Malema joining us from Soshanguve. Good afternoon to you and good luck.
Good afternoon, John, and thank you.
Henny Duplessis is on the line to us from Rudaport, playing for the very first time. Henny, the best of luck to you as well.
Thanks, John.
Okay, so let me just fill you in on the rules. They're pretty straightforward. You have 60 seconds to answer 15 questions. The contestant who gets the most answers correct is the winner. If scores are equal, will play sudden death. If I ask you to spell a word, it's always a good idea to spell it. If you don't spell it, I will spell it. I can't get a point, but you can, so give it a bash. The last thing that I just need to say, answers nice and promptly, please. Okay, so we're ready to go. The rules are clear. And Robinson, your time starts now.
3, 2, 1.
Spell the word highway.
Highway.
Correct. Complete the saying. You have egg on your what?
Face.
Correct. True or false? Amphibians are animals with backbones.
False.
True. The cricket team that reached the SA20 final is the Pretoria what?
Pass.
Which one has a larger area, the Sahara Desert or Canada?
Canada.
Correct. Does the word docile mean passive or wild?
Passive.
Correct. Which sporting celebrity is the father of Brooklyn, Cruz, and Romeo?
David Beckham.
Correct. True or false? The retina is the black hole in the eye.
True.
False. Complete the title of the 2025 movie Lilo and what?
Pass.
Stitch. Give the third letter in the word chemical.
E.
Correct. Which farm animal bellows? Bull or pig?
Pig.
Okay, we're just looking at what the judges say, and Robinson, you managed to get 6 right, having answered 11 questions. So, That's what you need to do, Henny Duplessis. And I'm going to say your time starts now, but not before I've just had a slug of water. I shouldn't be doing that, but far better I do that than start coughing in the middle of your round. So, Henny Duplessis, 6 is your target, and your time starts now.
3, 2, 1.
Spell the word hospital.
Hospital.
Correct. Complete the saying, you hit the nail on the what?
Head.
Correct. True or false? All mammals feed their young milk.
True.
Correct. The cricket team that reached the SA20 final is the what Eastern Cape?
No idea.
Sunrisers. Which one has a larger area, Greenland or Australia?
Greenland.
Australia. Does the word monotonous mean bubbly or dreary?
Dreary.
Correct. Which film celebrity is the father of Jaden, Willow, and Trey?
Will Smith.
Correct. True or false? The human little toe has 2 bones.
True.
False. The twins in the 2025 movie Sinners were called Smoke and what?
Water.
Stack. Give the third letter in the word pharmacy.
E.
A. Which farm animal lows, sheep or cow?
Cow.
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go again, because it looks like Henny Duplessis, just like Robinson Malema, has come up with 6 points. So what does that mean? Well, I think you all know what it means. It means we get to play sudden death. Okay, the way sudden death works, Robinson, as the person who was in the driving seat, as the brain of the day, you get to answer first. 1 question for you, 1 question for Henny, and on we go until we have a winner. So, Robinson, if you're ready, and I'm sure you are, complete the name of the party game. Ring a ring of what?
Pass.
You don't want to have a stab at it? No? Okay.
No.
Okay. Henny, your question. Complete the name of the children's game. Hide and what?
Seek.
Hide and seek. Hide and seek is correct. We no longer will be seeking to see who is the brain of the day. Congratulations. Henny Duplessis, you are our reigning brain. Robinson, you've had an excellent run. Well done to you. You put up a great fight. I think your second time playing sudden death. But congratulations, Henny. You are our reigning brain and the brain of the day. You've won 1,500 Rand thanks to 702, and you will play again with Bongani Bingwa tomorrow morning. If you're still standing after that round, you will be the brain of the day and continue the battle for brilliance. Now, for a chance to prove your mental might and to win your share of 130,000 Rand, visit primemediaplus.com to register. You could become the brain of 702 and walk away with the ultimate general knowledge prize.
You're now listening to 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. So this thing of different Bolt drivers, I'm wondering, or Bolt drivers and Uber drivers, and the fact that there are people who try to share the driver profile. We heard earlier that Uber has a verification system that's effective. We then heard later on that from Bolt drivers themselves saying, no, we've got the same thing as well. But I'm very curious to know, have you ever got into a vehicle and said, whoa, hang on a bit, or maybe you noticed this before you actually open the door and take your seat, that the driver doesn't look anything like the person who appeared on your app. I have to say I've never used Bolt, so I don't know if the app's pretty similar. I would assume these things follow a system and a formula, but no, I do not know how Bolt works. I know I've got into the wrong Uber, but that was, probably my mistake, because I didn't look at the driver, but it was, I don't know, something. A white Toyota Corolla, and there were two white Toyota Corollas parked in the same space, and we got in the wrong one. But apart from that, I've never actually encountered anything like thinking, hang on a bit, this is the right vehicle, but the driver doesn't look the way they should. So if you've had that experience, A, tell us what happened, but crucially, tell us what you did.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, John. John, I'm a boat driver. I'm an e-hailing driver. I drive on the Bolt platform. I just wanted to correct the gentleman there, Mr. Mnguni, with regards to Bolt not having those verification processes. I want to state as a fact now that Bolt do request all that which he has said that Uber has implemented. The problem is that people would do that, they would verify themselves, and then instantly, after verifying themselves, give the vehicle over to the next person. That is why you still have these people that are able to breach or to use other people's profiles. They are required to to take a selfie, to log in, but immediately after logging in, they would hand over the vehicle to someone else.
Yeah, and given how easy that sounds to do, it must be very, very hard to come up with a system any more rigorous. Maybe you've got a few good ideas on how this could all be tightened up in the interests of everybody's safety. 702 Drive, call me with that on 072 702 1702. It's news time. It's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
6 suspects to return to court next week over e-hailing murder, and Shadrack Sibiya insists he did not spy in Joburg. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. 3 new suspects linked to the murder of e-hailing driver Isaac Satlat will join 3 others in the dock next week, facing charges including robbery and murder. The 23-year-old Nigerian national was killed last week during what would have been his last trip for the day. His car and body were later found in Artridgeville, with disturbing footage of his murder captured on the car's dash cam. The 3 additional suspects in the matter appeared briefly before the Pretoria Magistrates Court today, Dimakatso Leshoro reports.
Tumisha Mabutla, 23, his girlfriend offences Sonomadi, 18, as well as Tabang Motwa, 27, are believed to have participated in the robbery and murder of Isaac Satlet. Mabutla is facing charges of premeditated murder and robbery with aggravating circumstances, while accused number 5, Sonomadi, has been charged with premeditated murder and robbery with aggravating circumstances as an accessory after the fact, while Motwa faces a charge of robbery with aggravating circumstances as an accessory after the fact. The trio will on Monday join the initial 3 suspects in the dock. The state is alleging that after disposing of the deceased body, the accused took the victim's vehicle to Motwa to remove the car tracker. All 6 accused have been remanded in custody. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
Suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya has reiterated that he did not procure spy equipment during his time at the city of Joburg. Sibiya served as the head of Group Forensic Investigation Services within the city of Joburg for 6 years from 2016. In 2022, political opponents and some new city officials alleged that Sibiya acquired spying machines, claiming he bought a 20 million rand device from an Israeli company capable of intercepting phone calls, emails and data from nearby laptops. Sibiya was later cleared when a probe by the State Security Agency found he had procured equipment used for detecting eavesdropping devices and sweeping rooms for bugs, but not for gathering intelligence. Sibiya reaffirmed his innocence to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today.
I want the chair and I want the public and I want the city to know that it was not spying equipment. It was equipment that should monitor what is happening, all the crimes that is committed in the city of Joburg.
Locals on the search for gold at an informal settlement in Springs have defied law enforcement efforts to stop them. The groups say this is the only way to put food on the table. In the last few days, large trenches have appeared across the Guguletu informal settlement as residents search for what they believe could be gold. The digging began after rumours spread of mineral deposits on a vacant piece of land, and while police chased them away earlier today, the residents have returned to continue their search. Alfa Ramushwana is there.
Earlier today, police vans blocked the patch of land where locals have been digging for gold. Heavily armed officers chased the locals away and warned them against illegally digging on land owned by the city of Ekurhuleni. But shortly after the police left, many community members returned, continuing to dig and loading soil and rocks into buckets and wheelbarrows. This local explains what he does with the soil, which he believes contains gold.
We are looking for gold to sell. We use the proceeds to live a normal life. We sell a gram of gold for between 1,600 and 1,900.
He says for him and many others, this is the only way to earn a living. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Springs in Ekurhuleni.
Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwahube says the country's constitution would be thrown out the window if it ever fell into the hands of the MK party. Gwahube made the comment in Parliament today during a debate of President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address. While lamenting on the success of united leadership under the government of national unity, Gwahube has accused the MK party of not seeing the value of the country's constitutional democracy. Babalondenze reports.
Minister Siviwe Gwahube used her speech during today's debate to also speak about the government of national unity, which she joined about 2 years ago. Gwahube says as the GNU, they were guided by a clear purpose to stabilize the country. Her remarks come a day after MK Party interim parliament leader Des van Rooyen warned that his party would march to victory at the local government elections later this year. But Gwahube says this would spell bad news for the country.
We could never allow the country we so love to fall into the hands of those who wish to throw away our constitution into the bin for political clout. While political parties like the MK do not see the value of our hard-earned constitutional democracy, we certainly do.
Gwahube also told the joint sitting that President Cyril Ramaphosa has correctly placed growth and jobs at the center of the national agenda. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News, Cape Town.
And a Spanish man has been arrested for allegedly hacking a hotel booking website to reserve luxury rooms for as little as 1 cent. The 20-year-old is believed to have manipulated the site's payment system, altering the validation process of an electronic payment platform so that bookings appeared fully paid. But only a minimal 1 cent was actually charged for the rooms, which normally cost up to €1,000 a night. At the time of his arrest, the man was staying at a luxury Madrid hotel with a 4-night reservation totaling at least €4,000. Gold is trading at $4,921.48 an ounce. The rand is at 15.98 to the dollar, 21.69 to the pound, 18.92 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.42 a barrel.
Traffic pressure in Edenville, R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange in Tembisa, traveling towards Irene. Slow-moving traffic, R21 northbound approaching Olifantsfontein Road. Lambton Germiston area roadworks still slowing down traffic on the N17 westbound between Osborne Road and Wits Rifles.
In your world of sports, 2 Betway Premiership games tonight. The big one, Orlando Pirates with Mamelodi Sundowns at FNB Stadium. At the Donny Craven Stadium, we see Magesi FC visiting Stellenbosch. While the Premier League has a late kickoff of 10, it is lock leaders Arsenal up against Wolves.
A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 16 degrees, peaking at 29. Pretoria 17 and 30, and Vereeniging 15 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: 3 new suspects linked to the murder of e-hailing driver Isaac Satlat will join 3 others in the dock next week, facing charges including robbery and murder.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes past 5 on 702 Drive. Good to have you with us on the show. Coming up in the next half an hour, we're going to be talking to Oren Singh. He's been at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, listening very, very closely as Deputy National Police Commissioner General Shadrach Sibia has been giving evidence, firstly framed largely by the statement he prepared, and increasingly as his 4 days in the witness stand unfold. This was day one. Increasingly, he's going to be subjected to questioning from the evidence leaders, but also from the commissioners as well. It's going to be very, very interesting. A lot of important stuff that needs to be canvassed. Oren's take on day one in just a moment. And then we're going to be looking very closely at a story that's come out. One of the most popular Chinese car brands in South Africa has got a very poor safety rating, a 2-star safety rating from the NCAP, the New Car Assessment Program. They've done some crash tests. We'll talk about what they found out about the Cherry Tiggo 7 and talk more broadly about how these tests are conducted and what they mean. Kumbi Mchakazi is a motoring expert who's going to be joining us in about 10 minutes' time. Music later in the show. We'll update you on the traffic, tell you what's happened on the markets, and of course, look ahead to the Money Show tonight between 6 and 8. 702 Drive, 10 past 5. It's great to have you with us.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Ring a rosies, a pocket full of posies, a tissue, we all fall down. Come on, Baba John. What a way to lose the brain of 702, man. Just brought back childhood memories there.
Hello, Dr. John and team. It actually happened to me when I went to Durban, by Durban Park Station. So there's like a whole lot of Bolt vehicles that park there, and I don't know how they verify and so forth. But I requested a Toyota Corolla, and a quid came. And it was a funny story. I mean, that car was not roadworthy. The doors were not opening. I had to go in through the driver's side of the door to get, and like they get so rude, like if you don't want to get into the vehicle, and then they tell you that you can't request other vehicles. So yeah, I ended up taking that trip in that vehicle.
Good day, Uncle John. Alex from Pretoria here. I don't know how many times I've actually cancelled rides because number one, it's not just the driver. The driver can be the same, the vehicle is different. Honestly speaking, it's very unsafe, to be honest, to be using e-hailing service. It's just a matter of you don't know if it's going to be your bad day.
Thank you for those voice notes. Really important. So if there's verification of the driver, and we understand this is done by selfie, is there verification that the vehicle is the correct vehicle? I mean, can you log on to either platform, Bolt or Uber, and say, okay, there it is, it's John, or it's Karabo, or Kabazela, or whoever might be, Refue. But then is there any way of checking that you're actually getting into the vehicle that you have actually promised? I see we've got Simpiwe who's calling us. Simpiwe, very good afternoon to you. I believe you drive for Bolt. What are your thoughts? Welcome.
Good afternoon, John. Yeah, I drive for Bolt. The vehicle isn't verified. We only do verifications after, I guess, a year through car scan. Yeah.
So in other words, if I get registered on the platform and I've got a Honda Ballade in reasonable shape, it's probably not the best example, but let's just stay with it. For the next year, I can pretty much turn up in any vehicle I like.
Oh, so in that sense, yeah, you can, as long as the client does not have an issue or does not raise an issue with it. You can use pretty much whichever car you can get.
So and Bolt doesn't verify. They don't do checks over that 1 year period, hey?
No, they only do checks when you have to renew your documents on the profile, the driver profile.
Okay. Simpiwe, thanks, and thanks for sharing with us. I just wanted to ask you this finally. I mean, obviously, tragic news involving Isaac Satlat. In general, do you feel pretty safe going about your work, or have there been moments, Simpiwe, where you felt quite vulnerable?
I've been in an altercation. I've been robbed while I was on duty,
Oh, no.
and I think the main issue is how easy anyone can become a user of Bolt. I don't think it's rigorous enough to protect both me and the rider.
Yeah, lots to talk about and think about, Simpiwe. Sorry to hear about that robbery, but great to hear from one of the drivers who's out on the roads. Just one more from Kevin out in Mulder's Drift, who has a suggestion on enhancing safety and says, I would say every time the hailing driver collects and then starts the ride, he or she should redo the selfie. And for their safety, so should that be reinstated for riders as well. Do riders have to... Is there photo ID if you're a e-hailing rider? I can't remember. It's such ages since I logged on. Maybe someone can clarify that for me as well. 011-883-0702 and 072-702-1702. 5:15.
EWN Traffic.
EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Chali, Edenvale, we got a problem, but where?
Yeah, that's heading towards the Bedford View area on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange. Still in Ekurhuleni, Tembisa this time, traveling towards Irene. Slow-moving traffic, R21 northbound approaching Olifantsfontein Road. Lambton and Germiston roadwork still causing some delays on the N17 westbound from Osborne Road to Wits Rifles. In Rudaport, expect some delays on Randfontein Road. This is between Corlett and Adcock. Pulls off. We still have bumper-to-bumper traffic on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven. Sunning Hill, also traffic sluggish on Witkoppen Road between Rivonia Road and Maxwell Drive. Bryanston traveling towards Four Ways. Traffic pressure. This is on the N1 southbound from the Betlu interchange to Winnie Mandela Drive. In Kyalami, expect delays approaching the intersection of the R55 and Allendale. And finally in Parktown, driving through the Joburg CBD heading towards Poisons. Traffic remains heavily backed up. This is on the M1 southbound between Killarney Benz and the Crown interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Romance is in the air this month, but your partner won't be feeling the love if you're late for date night. Fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are here to ease the traffic congestion so you can get to the restaurant on time. With the Outsurance pointsmen on the roads for the past 20 years, we can all get where we need to be quickly and safely. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using #PointsmenLove, licensed insurer and FSP.
Driving the conversation on 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Powered by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
Right, at 18 minutes past 5, let's just catch up now with what happened at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, day one of an expected 4, in which Deputy National Commissioner of Police, General Shadrack Sibia, is first of all presenting his perspective via his statement on the many issues that are being canvassed, and then increasingly as the days unfold, he will be asked questions about not only what he's had to say, but what has been said about him, and plenty has been said, I think it's fair to say. Oren, a very good afternoon to you. Oren Singh, sorry, I should introduce him properly. I'm so keen to get into the material. Oren Singh, our EWN colleague, has been covering it. Oren, I'm struck by the fact that for the first time, it seems to me, probably not the very first, but it seems rare that we've got someone who says they know Kat Matlala, but does not refer to him as a brother and with great degrees of warmth and closeness. What exactly has General Sibiya said about his relationship to Kat Matlala? Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. We only started touching on that towards the tail end of his testimony this afternoon for the last hour, bearing in mind they just wrapped up now at 5 p.m. Shadrack Sibiya essentially saying that he knows Kat Matlala. He has known him for some time, having first been introduced to him in January 2024, but doesn't consider him an associate or a friend, and claims that they have had dealings in terms of conversations and chats that they've dealt with certain things around, bearing in mind that Kat Matlala visited Shadrack Sibiya at his office at police headquarters sometime last year, and that was to talk about the use of the police college's facilities in terms of carrying out his Medicare tender, that 360 million rand police tender. But I think, fair enough. Shadrack Sibiya, that's his version of events. He vehemently disputes that he has ever accepted money from Kat Matlala, and that he shares a close brotherly bond or relationship with him. He also says that he raises questions around how that evidence that has been presented before the commission, showing sort of links between him and Kat Matlala through WhatsApp chats. He poses questions how that evidence was obtained and whether it can be actually verified and whether it can actually be used in this commission to sort of put links between Matlala and himself.
So is he saying that the WhatsApps are bogus, or is he saying the WhatsApps may be true, but the way in which they have been acquired and brought into the Madlanga Commission process is suspect and should be subjected to scrutiny? They're different points, aren't they?
They're different points, but I think whichever one falls within his favor at this moment in time, John. From what I read from Shadrack Sibiya is that he is bringing into disputes how the evidence was obtained and whether it was done in a way that the commission is happy with how the messages and the extraction of those WhatsApp messages were obtained, and whether the commission is satisfied with the manner in which those investigations were carried out. Remember that police arrested Vuzi Kat Matlala and confiscated cell phones from him, but he was also found with a cell phone in prison that police got their hands on. So there's been a lot that police have been able to extract from his phone, and the WhatsApp communication between Vuzi Kat Matlala and Witness F, who is a sergeant from Gauteng Organized Crime that reports to Shadrack Sibiya, suggests that they were in some sort of dealings. Yes. And they've had some sort of gratification payments done in the benefit of Shadrack Sibiya in the past.
And just finally, Oren, day 1 of 4, as I mentioned at the start, tomorrow and possibly Friday. What does the road ahead look like, and where, from General Sibiya's point of view, might the biggest potholes be?
Rocky, if anything, John. If I could put it into perspective, he seems like he's in a Ford Fiesta about to take on a mountain challenge on a gravel road, because I think the evidence that has been put before the commission so far corroborated, but not by one, not by two, but maybe 4 or 5 different witnesses, is damning, if anything. And Shadrack Sibiya has his back up against the wall. He has come out guns blazing. He has come out fighting. And I suspect when those difficult questions come through during cross-examination in the coming days, possibly start with cross-examination tomorrow, he's gonna come out punching a lot more than we saw him today. And he's not going to be in a happy space. I think we saw him sort of comfortable to some extent today because there weren't many questions posed to him. But when those difficult questions come, if he doesn't have the answers, we're going to see a different Shadrack Sibiya.
Oren Singh, thank you. And of course, Oren will be out there at the Mandlanga Commission of Inquiry, and we will get to hear his take on things throughout the day in all the shows and indeed on our bulletins right here on 702 every half an hour with EWN. It's 23 minutes past 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, a very interesting story appearing on the News 24 platform. The headline says, SA's most popular Chinese car brand gets 2-star safety rating. And it refers to something called the New Car Assessment Program. The Cherry Tiggo 7 is a model that has come under close scrutiny as a result of certain crash tests being done. Other vehicles, of course, have been subjected to this. Toyota Corolla Cross, for example, has, I think, recently picked up a 2-star rating as well. But what are these tests all about? And what should we derive from their outcomes? Kumbi Mchakazi is a motoring expert and joins us now on 702 Drive. Kumbi, welcome and thanks very much for giving us your time. What are these tests done? Are they standardized globally? Are they South Africa specific? What can you tell us about them? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John, and thank you for having me, and good afternoon to your listeners as well. So the global NCAP is essentially a global NCAP requirement that is meant for every automaker to ensure that every car that they do list out on cars that are on our roads is, equipped with some safety that is meant to aid in any collision that can happen on the roads and ensure that passengers, adults, and kids are safe in this test. So this is a global NCAP requirement for all automakers in the world.
So ratings 0 to 5, as I understand it, a 2 would be quite a problem. I would think that's by any measure a fail. But what do people look at? Do they look at the number or do they look at the particular areas of failure? What's most important?
So, John, it's quite important to achieve a high rating on the global NCAP. And as much as, people just want to look at, we do have airbags here and there, but it does impact should an unforeseen circumstance happen when you are then impacted. And as much as you can have 3 stars on the global NCAP, but you can get a side impact. And if your car doesn't have the side impact airbags, you can imagine the devastating effects of that. So, yes, looking at the numbers and the stars, that are, yes, it's out of 5. You can get 5 stars or you can get 4 stars on this global NCAP. And it's quite hard for vehicles to actually achieve a 5 out of 5 rating.
Right.
But, in the case that we are seeing right now, there is quite a lot of, side impact airbags that are missing, that are not placed in practice, especially the head impact on the sides as well. So you can get a curtain airbag, but on the side impact just above your head, we're seeing that cars are not having this, and that can then cause devastating effects for families.
In terms of what they can do about it, I mean, presumably this model now is as it is. Do manufacturers then go and say, okay, next year we're going to come out with something better? Or is there the argument saying, well, look, this is what we offer, this is the price, and the consumer makes a choice?
John, what I've seen a lot of manufacturers doing right now is that they really try their best to always introduce, and we'll see this in facelifted models, where they then introduce some, and in this case, we noticed that it's an absence of side head protection for the front and rear occupants. They will then introduce that in some of their models that then come up, because the models are already on the road right now. Most of the models that have this problem on the roads already, and a lot of people are really driving these cars. So what then happens is that, and what we see usually is that this is always impacted in cars that are at the entry level variants of these cars. So the higher grades are usually then, fitted with all these safety features that give it a 5 out of 5 rating on their global NCAP. However, I think we need to start seeing a lot of manufacturers making it as standardized across the entire range in terms of safety. Yes, you can put in the niceties, the screens, etc., but I think safety should be paramount from an entry level range to the top of the range model. And I think we will be seeing this very much going forward. And I also advise a lot of customers to, not compromise on safety because, some cars have all these nice gizmos and nice technologies, but look at the global NCAP ratings. And, a lot of cars, and the global NCAP is there, the website is there for everybody to go and check up any model that you want to see, the year model, whatever ever that you want to look, and you can see what safety is in place, what rating it achieved if the manufacturers took the car to the global NCAP for it to be tested, because manufacturers actually have to take their cars to be tested, and some manufacturers don't do that. So you need to ensure that you have done some research in that department, so that you don't just settle for it's affordable but it doesn't have the rating,
Yes.
as we've seen now with the latest news.
Thank you so much. Kumbi Mchakazi, motoring expert. I must admit, in the cars I've bought over my life, and there have been a few, I have never even asked, what is the NCAP rating? I've been focused on other things. Maybe you've gone about it differently. Give us a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 7021 702. 29 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Decent day on the markets, an interesting money show ahead. Here's your man, Stephen. Good afternoon.
John, thank you. Good afternoon. Yeah, very strong day actually at the end. The JSE All-Share up 2.6%. Strong figures from resources. The All-Share closing at 122,517 points. But financials up 2.14%. Industrials up 1.64%. And resources up 4.19% on the day. So gold prices are higher, but a series of results today from gold producers, John. And as you'd expect with prices where they are, very, very strong results. So Pan-African Resources up 10.76%. They reported their headline earnings per share were going to be up by around 500%. It was able to increase production along with higher gold prices. DRD Gold's up 4.25%. Their headline earnings for the 6 months to the end of December up by 98%. And then Sibanye Stillwater expecting their basic earnings to be up by around 360%. There is a basic loss per share there because of impairments, but still very, very strong results. Grindrod coming to the party as well. The logistics firm, they're up 6.25%. They say they expect their earnings and headline earnings to be up by over 100% the year ending in December. The Matola terminal improved its operations. The Maputo port handled record volumes, they say. Platinum miners doing nicely. Volterra's up 5% on the day. And in fact, Anglo's up 5.23. Karoo down 1.7. The Maz Group down 0.93. Italtal down just 0.5% or so. But generally speaking, a very strong day for the JSE. I should mention, of course, inflation dropping to 3.5% in January. More on this on the Money Show about meat prices, the foot and mouth outbreak. But pork prices are up by 20% as well, John. Although white rice is down by 11%. But maize meal inflation was up very strongly in December. Has come down quite sharply in January. In the US, it seems those fears about AI seem to be waning slightly. The Dow Jones is up 0.56. The Nasdaq is up 1.02. The S&P 500 is up 0.69% on the day so far. The gold price $4,998.19, platinum $2,101.30, Brent crude $69.40. The rand to the dollar 16.04, to the euro 18.96, to the British pound 21.72. On the Money Show tonight, obviously more about inflation. We'll talk about meat prices specifically. Morafe Resources has managed to restart one of its smelters, John. This is under the new electricity pricing agreement. We'll speak to one of the people involved in that. We'll look at what's happening in the acting industry, because the DTIC astonishingly seems to have failed to pay out its rebate. I mean, there was this email read in Parliament yesterday between two TTIC officials, and the one saying to the other, just make it too difficult to comply, then we won't have to do this work. I mean, it's crazy. So we'll talk about that tonight. And then don't forget, your shapeshifter this evening is Gloria Sorobe, someone who's had the most stellar career pretty much her entire life, from 7:30. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. The Money Show, 28 minutes away. It's 28 minutes to 6 o'clock. Time to get the very latest eyewitness news. Here's Mbali Dlamini.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Police are investigating the killing of a 52-year-old man who was shot and killed near Swazi Inn shopping centre in Ivory Park near Midrand today. Earlier, police responded to reports of a shooting after the victim had already been rushed to hospital, where he was declared dead on arrival. Preliminary information indicates that the man was parked along the roadside when two vehicles approached him. Occupants of the cars allegedly opened fire before fleeing the scene. Police spokesperson Dimakatso Nebuhulwi.
The motive of the shooting is unknown at this stage and no one is arrested.
Athlone Community Policing Forum chairperson Vernon Pete says the military will not be able to curb crime in that area. Pete shared his sentiments in Bridgetown, where a 9-month-old baby was shot dead last night. Residents in the Cape Town area are living in fear following that shooting, which also left the infant's mother and another woman dead. It comes as the SANDF prepares for deployment to gang hotspots in the Western Cape within the next 10 days. Carlo Peterson is there.
Athlone Community Policing Forum chairperson Vernon Pitt says the incident, which happened at a known drug den, is yet another tragic shooting in the area.
The fact that a 9-month-old baby was also killed makes it even worse. It says to me that the perpetrators of crime has no remorse. They feel nothing for anybody.
Pitt says the deployment of the SANDF to the area will be futile.
They don't know how to work. They are trained for combat. They don't understand the community.
Pitt called on residents to take more action against gangsters and criminals in gang-ravaged areas. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And Human Settlements Minister Thembisi Melane says her department is trying to speed up the transfer of state-owned properties to residents who signed 99-year leases during apartheid. The houses are in our 93 townships, which refer to residential areas in former Bantu stans established under the previous dispensation. The ongoing transformation of these areas involves converting the outdated deeds into full ownership. Similani told the Human Settlements Portfolio Committee today that she has already met with Minister of Rural Development as well as the former Minister of Environment, Dion George.
In our meeting with Minister Nyocho in relation to the fast-tracking of the registration and the formalization of those settlements so that we can be able to transfer ownership into those 99-year-old leases which are even pre the 1994 dispensation.
A partly cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 15 and 17 degrees and highs of between 29 and 30.
Roodepoort heading towards Kagiso Leratong area. You can expect about a 20-minute delay on Randfontein Road between Corlett and Adcock. Pulls off still bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on Witkoppen Road between Main and Stonehaven. Lambton, Germiston area roadworks causing about a 20-minute delay on the N17 westbound between Osborne Road and Wits Rifles.
The top story in EWN, police are investigating the killing of a 52-year-old man who was shot and killed near Swazi Inn shopping centre in Ivory Park near Midrand today.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Can you be honest with us, Michael? Are you telling me that as Action SA, there were no other positions you were interested in? So even if they had given you 3 more positions, you didn't want it because you don't want to be part of the government in Ekurhuleni?
Correct. As a matter of fact, the response from our president to the mayor was, if you offer us the mayoralty, we'll consider. Because when we are led in a coalition by mayors who have proven incapable of leading complicated cities like Dada Marrero, like Mayor Kakazi here, is a situation where we'll find ourselves subjugated to inadequate leadership that fails the residents of Ekurhuleni at a critical time where we need to be the alternative. And you can't be the alternative if you're reporting to the people that you need to be the alternative to.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries. World-class team of 1,111 with one mission. Awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
Naked people are popular at Bry's because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums. They have more money for T-bone steaks. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
Pedal Power Association proudly supports the Cape Town Cycle Tour. And it's more than just a ride, as every entry helps change a life. Proceeds from the race are donated to communities in need, opening doors to education, work and independence. And for every 20 cyclists who enter from Jozi, one bicycle is donated to a community in need. So when you pedal, you're not just riding for yourself, you're helping communities move forward. Go to capetowncycletour.com, proudly supported by Prime Media Cares.
If you run a business, your vehicles aren't just vehicles, they're capital investments on four wheels, and capital should perform. On Friday, the 20th of February, 7:02, we'll take you inside Pro One, an exclusive Stellantis showcase spotlighting the Peugeot professional pickup range. Engineered for South African businesses, from construction to agriculture to logistics. If your fleet is due for an upgrade and you mean business, tune in on Friday for live insights from the floor. Power your business with the confidence of Peugeot Professional on 702.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Afternoon, Uncle John and team. I think Bolt can adapt a similar feature to the Invigilator app that UNISA uses for the online examination. So what it does is it prompts you to take random selfies at any given time. So with the Bolt app, it can also do the same. It can prompt you to take a selfie to verify if it is still the correct driver, the owner of the profile that's driving. Just randomly during your trips, it just prompts you every time to check. I think that would help a lot, and it would alleviate people sharing a profile.
I must say that sounds brilliant. The randomness of it deals with all sorts of issues, and it builds on the suggestion we had earlier from Kevin, a selfie before you begin each trip. I think random might work out better. I mean, invigilators at UNISA, has that worked well? Are there any glitches, anything that might get in the way of making that something that could be applied and adapted? Sounds great to me. 20 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Okay, let's get the latest sports news. Tato Moloto, good afternoon.
Very good afternoon, John. We start at the Betway Premiership, a massive night for defending champions Mamelodi Sundowns, who traveled to Orlando Pirates in a top-of-the-table clash. Masandawana sits 6 points behind the Buccaneers with the game in hand, though. Here's skipper Ronwen Williams.
The support has been amazing. You know, they were that extra motivation, the energy, beating those drums. And, you know, we need them, especially now at the back end of the season where there's a lot of things to play for. And I would like to urge the Masandawana to get behind the boys again. You know, I saw that there are still tickets available. Please, Masandawana, go out there, get the tickets, get behind the boys. It's a big one.
Kickoff is at 7:30 at the FNB Stadium. Still in the Betway Premiership, Stylies host Makesi FC at the Donny Craven Stadium. Then the Premier League has one game tonight. It is leaders Arsenal who will look to open up a 7-point gap at the top of the table as they aim to pull further clear from Man City. They are with the struggling Wolves side in a late kickoff at 10. More football in the UEFA Champions League as the first leg playoffs continue. Newcastle at Karabakh. Leverkusen head to Greece to face Olympiacos. Inter meet Bobo, as well as Atletico, who are playing Club Bruges. Meanwhile, at the men's ICC T20 World Cup, the Netherlands have a target of 194 from 120 balls after keeping India at 193 for 6. As things stand, Netherlands are 11 for the loss of none. For the Proteas, good news for them. They head into the Super 8 as far as that Cricket World Cup is concerned, unbeaten in all their matches so far. Today, they beat the UAE by 6 wickets with 40 balls to spare. Corbin Bush reflects a little bit after this game and his winning 3 for 12.
I think we had a luxury to have a really good training session yesterday to get a feel of what the conditions will be like here, and I think a little bit of weather played its part, especially with the seamers that we have getting extra bit of pace and bounce.
Finally, Stefanos Tsitsipas dispatched 2023 Qatar Open champion Daniel Medvedev 6-3, 6-4 for a spot in that quarterfinals of the Dubai Champs. Tato Moloto, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Coming up now for 17 minutes to 6, EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS OUT to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Jammed in Germiston. What's up? Karabo Charlie.
Well, we still have those roadworks in the Lambton area. This is on the N17 westbound, causing about a 20-minute delay between Osborne Road and Wits Rifles. Still in Ekurhuleni, this time heading towards Irene in Tembisa. There's slow-moving traffic. R21 northbound approaching Olifantsfontein Road. Edenvale, traffic pressure. R24 westbound from Edenvale Road to the Kilulis interchange. That's heading into Bedfordview. In Roodepoort, traveling towards Leratong, traffic heavily backed up on Randfontein Road between Collet and Adcock. While in Poleshoff, bumper-to-bumper traffic on Witkoppen Road between Main and Stonehaven. Bryanston, traffic pressure. This is driving towards Four Ways. N1 southbound from the Between interchange to Winnie Mandela Drive. Kyalami, you can still expect delays. This is approaching the intersection of the R55 and Allendale Road. And finally in Parktown, driving through the Joburg CBD heading towards Boysons, expect about a 20-minute delay. M1 southbound from Killarney Bends to the Crown interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the lady on her way to work, listening to a love song on the radio. She's recreating the music video in her mind with herself as the leading lady. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a concert on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Stay with 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
5:45 on 702 Drive. We would just like to acknowledge and send condolences to the family and friends of Clem Santo, who has just passed away. The announcement acknowledges the remarkable work he did as in getting South Africans to think at a crucial time in our history during the 1980s. He did pioneering work in the idea of scenario planning. He looked at the high road and the low road. He looked at different mindsets. The fox, which had the ability to adapt and think flexibly. Boy, did we need that. The hedgehog, much more rigid. He was certainly a prominent presence on 702, and those of you who've been listeners for a long time would definitely remember and look back with, I think, both fondness and appreciation for somebody who was always interesting and always challenging. And the message from his family says, and sums it up very well, I think, his contribution to South Africa's peaceful transition and his legacy as a thought leader who made complex futures accessible to all will be remembered for generations to come. Indeed, it's 14 minutes to 6.
John is on X.
at John Perlman.
Stephen coming up with the Money Show between 6 and 8. Aubrey Masango, who also gets you to think every weekday night from 8 to 12. He's going to be joining us. Lots of great radio ahead on 702. We, of course, as it is close to the end of the show, are going to play out with some music.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
So I'm just going to be very clear about this. Jonathan Fairbairn has been trying to get this song on the show, but he's never been able to come up with a plausible reason why we should play this song. It's a good song. It's not high up on my playlist. But, Jono, you love this song. You're going to introduce it, and then you're going to give us what I think is quite a flimsy pretext for why we need to listen to Over to You.
Afternoon, John. So this is a banger from 1992, and if you're in your car right now, I dare you not to sing the chorus out loud when this comes on. So John Cicada, Just Another Day Without You.
Yes.
What a song. Great song.
Okay, but now what is the theme? Because you must at least have a fig leaf.
I do have a theme, and the theme today, and I mean, it's not too bad, I think. I mean, I'm stretching it a bit, but I think it's okay. It'll work. Song titles with the word day in it.
I mean, you could have said song titles with the word another in it, but there'd probably be few of them.
No, there
I
would be
agree.
few
A
of
lot
those,
of people will be delighted that you've managed to smuggle this song in under the flimsiest of pretexts. But in all seriousness, there's some terrific songs. A couple have already popped into my head. Songs that have the word day in them. That's D-A-Y. Here is John Cicada. As Jonna says, many of you, I know, think this is indeed a banger. And while you listen to it and enjoy, send us your songs with the word day in them. Here's John Cicada. John Cicada, Just Another Day, launching our little musical theme for today. Give us a song that has day, the word day, in the title. Don't dig it out of the lyrics or somewhere deep in the third chorus, although the third chorus is usually like the first chorus, so let me not overmake the point. But plenty of songs with day in the title. That's a good one. John Cicada from 1992. Let's hear from you.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
There are so many things happening digitally. It can be quite difficult to differentiate between what's safe and what's not. What are the cons?
I think you have to start whenever you think about digital safety. If someone sells something to you or proposes an investment to you and it just sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So let's start there. And especially in the digital world, you see a lot of adverts at social media like TikTok and other places. You get a whole lot of ads, etc., that shows you these investments that looks like you can retire tomorrow. So the first thing is just when it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
Dinas Rautenbach, a business head at Clarity.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
How's it, Doff? How's it, Savvy? Why are you sitting in your driveway all by your lonesome, Doff? Selling my car, Sav. I don't trust the internet. I like to wheel and deal my own wheels. That's how you make way more, Sav. Okay, so where's your car now, Doff? Potential buyers took it for a test drive. When did they take it for a test drive, Doff? 3 days ago. Should have sold it to We Buy Cars, Doff. Yeah, Savvy.
Don't be Doff, be savvy. We Buy Cars, geared for a fast, safe sale, geared for you.
When tax issues get complex, you need more than general advice. You need specialist insight. AJM turns intricate tax challenges into clear strategic solutions. From disputes and litigation to long-term planning, our expertise protects what matters to you and your business. With teams in Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Namibia, we deliver the rigorous analysis high-stakes decisions demand. AJM. Complex tax matters simply resolved.
702 Drive with John Perlman was proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Oh yes, John. Jonathan Fairbairn, you know, you're taking me back to 1993, 1995. That period when I was in the high school, listening to love songs. We had these cassettes with big covers just looked like VCRs, but in a smaller version of it, with broken hearts, love songs, Phil Collins, Another Day in Paradise, John Sekada, Just Another Day. Oh man, Charles Kensington.
Dr. John, this is Tavan from Midlands. Another song that's a day, a wet day in it. It's a song by Maria Carey. One sweet day.
Hi, Tati John. I'm thinking Phil Collins, Another Day in Paradise. What a song. Phil Collins, please, if you can play for me. Thank you, Tati John.
Yeah, we're getting some great songs here, I must say. Go, John, good one. Day, songs with day in the title. What else have we got?
Hi, Tati John. My song with the word day in it is by Babyface. The title is The Day. Takes me back to high school. I don't think we understood the lyrics though. Refilo here from the Mid-Val.
Good evening, Tati John, and all the 702 listeners. This is Tapua here from Pretoria. I think I would suggest the song by U2 called Beautiful Day.
Heart is a balloon, shoots up through the stony ground. There's no room, no space to rent in this town. You're out of luck, and the reason that you had to care, the traffic is stuck, and you're not moving anywhere. You thought you found a friend to take you out of this place, someone you could lend a hand in return for grace. It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day. So let it get away on the road. But you've got no destination. You're in the mud, in the maze of her imagination. Your love is down, even if that doesn't ring true.
U2, Beautiful Day, beautiful song. Tony Blair actually used that to win an election. I suspect he probably had to say and do a few other things to get voters to bring him in as Prime Minister in 2005. But if you're going to have a song, well, U2 doing the business there. More of your voice notes.
Hey John, a good song, a legendary song with the word day in its title. Today Was a Good Day by Ice Cube.
Hi, Uncle John. This is Gugu from Leondale. I forgot the title of the song, but I remember a bit about it. It goes like a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
Yeah, we've had Spring Day from BTS. We couldn't fit that in. The Beatles from George wanted Hard Day's Night. We couldn't fit that in either. The song Yesterday came up. So many songs with the word day in it. But for all of us here on 702 Drive, it's time to call it a day. From the team and myself, John Perlman, have a wonderful Wednesday evening. Good night.
Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely
And now, The Money Show
with Stephen